rocking. The Last Honest Streamer. It's a video about queso.
And the internet loves the spectacle. The bigger it is, the louder it is. The more expensive it looks, the better it performs. Look at the top of Twitch right now. It's flooded with million-dollar mansions, celebrity subathons, streamers buying their 10th dream car. Everything seems to be built around the question,
I don't know. I'm going to have the take that I think the streaming world is pivoting back to desktop. And I think Jinxie and Queso are paving that. I think that there was this like year-long span of like IRL, big event, blah, blah, blah. And you? Well, no, I'm like way behind them on the streaming sense. On YouTube, I'm bigger than Jinxie, not Queso. But no, like Queso and Jinxie are like the desktop guys, you know? Part of becoming an adult is going to the doctor and checking on your health. But making an appointment and even finding a doctor can be a pain, and that is where ZocDoc, the sponsor of today's video, comes into play. ZocDoc makes it easy to find local doctors that fit your needs and insurance. Just input location, type of doctor needed, and when you want an appointment, and ZocDoc will show you nearby doctors that you can schedule right away with the click of a button. I have alpha-gal, or the red meat disease, and before I knew I had it, I just started having symptoms of it. I was breaking out in hives constantly, and I had no idea what was wrong with me. I had never been to an allergist in my entire life, and I had no idea where any of them were or how to even get in contact with one. And when I went on ZocDoc and I searched up allergists, they showed me all the ones in my local area and helped me get an allergist that I needed. Being young does not equate to not needing appointments. Keeping your health in check matters, and ZocDoc is there to help you be proactive for your health. They have more than 150,000 providers with over 200 specialties in all 50 states. They also have real patient reviews and doctor profiles to help you find who you want. If you have a problem, get it checked out. And if you're young, get checkups. Even if you feel fine, it's great to stay proactive and have a baseline so you know when something's going wrong and when you need to change something alongside your medical practitioners, which you're able to find with ZocDoc. I know it seems small, but clicking the link in the description is the first step in prioritizing your health. Go to ZocDoc.com/Bartolozzi to get started and check that appointment off your to-do list. Thank you to ZocDoc again for partnering with us and for helping us take better care of our health.
How much money can we burn on camera? And then there's this guy. Queso is in
a 720p webcam in a dark room wearing a hoodie. Playing Fall Guys still. 50K viewers. Playing Fall Guys in 2026 and still pulling 50K views. Bro, that game is dead. That game is dead, and it's still so entertaining to watch him play it. That's like the weirdest. I think about that constantly. I'm like, Queso still plays Fall Guys. Like, that is, dude, he plays Fall Guys, and he has fucking 100x viewers versus Fall Guys player base. Like, I think he is single-handedly keeping that game, like, afloat. Like, monetarily. Like, I think if Queso didn't play Fall Guys, that game would just be dead. Like, no one would play that, and nobody plays it. Right? How many active players are on Fall Guys? This only might show Steam stats. Right now, there's 640 people on Steam on Fall Guys. That's excluding console players, but it does say on average, Fall Guys averages 1,000 players. That's bad. What's like a normal game? Like not Subnautica 2 or something that just dropped. What's like a game that's not popping but isn't dead? Don't say Fortnite. Fortnite's fucking still huge, even though it is dying. What's like, like Overwatch, or, you know, like Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is like a forever game. It's not like popping, but it's still huge. Yeah, they have 114,000 people on Marvel Rivals right now. 114K. Wow, they've actually been like doing pretty well. What's Overwatch at? I'm just curious. Overwatch is 64K on Steam, but they also have other launchers.
It's interesting, because on paper, he's doing almost everything wrong. His production quality is kind of garbage.
Queso, where'd he come from? 200,000 viewers playing Fall Guys yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't even zoomed in or cropped.
His setup isn't designed to be some massive content machine. Half the time he's live, he's playing some random game most people have never even heard of.
Your costume's so...
It's the slot machine, bro. It's the meta. Playing indie horror games is infinite content. There are, dude, I actually could play 5 hours of horror games every day for the next 6 years. There are like 100 new horror games a month.
Kid.
I mean,
and they're so fun though. It's just straight slop. It's like, dude, it's feel good content. Why don't you? I do. I play horror games every week. Not as much as Queso, but I play horror games a lot.
Your entire job is getting people to watch you. You don't turn down a Mr. Beast video. But Queso...
No, you don't. I played the Family Trip the other day, which is a game where you go camping with like a divorced family and then everybody just dies. Like there's no plot. There's no plot. It's just funny though because the characters are so stupid. It's like, dude, oh my God, I was so high in that too.
So did.
Queso did not respond to my message.
And somehow...
Bro, Queso don't be collabing. Queso don't be fucking traveling. Queso don't do really many sponsors. Queso actually could be... Queso's already still top 5 biggest Twitch streamers. Queso could be the biggest creator on YouTube gaming and Twitch-wise. Not even close if he just streamed with people. Like, collabs is like a cheat code for views. Like, if you fucking stream with another guy that's bigger, all you gotta do is just stream with people that's why you see all these top guys just stream with each other. Like, you see all the core guys stream with each other because it just fucking fills their view counts. Like, if Queso and Jinxie stream together every day, Queso would average 100K.
Despite doing the opposite of what the internet tells creators they're supposed to do, he's still one of the biggest streamers on the planet. How does that happen?
Oh my God, he has the perfect audience, too.
The honest answer is that none of this should have worked, because Queso's had the odds stacked against him since day one. Case Baker grew up in rural Arkansas. His hometown has a population just over 1,500.
Holy shit. Queso's from Arkansas? I knew he's from the South. I didn't know what state.
Hometown has a population just over 1,500. It's the kind of place where a new Walmart makes the front page, and where the church...
Oh my God, that's big news. That's big news in that city.
Churches outnumber the stoplights. Towns like that don't have a lot going on. So, as a quiet kid, Case did what quiet kids in quiet towns have always done. He disappeared into a screen. In this case, a PlayStation. Call of Duty on repeat.
Disappeared? Bro, I just feel like if you're a kid in Arkansas in like the early 2000s, because Kiss was like, what, 26, 28? I feel like, bro, you just playing old Call of Duties and riding dirt bikes.
And when YouTube started blowing up in the
going fishing
early 2010s, he was right there watching Nate Shot. And
Queso was not 19. Are you guys on crack? Queso was born in the 90s, chat. Queso was way older than 19. That's an inside joke? Oh, does he say he's 19?
Optic Guys built something that didn't exist.
Does he say he's 19?
A decade earlier. He watched gaming turn from a thing you did after school into an actual career.
Well, how does this sound? Making a living and even a small fortune just playing video games.
The biggest names were clearing their parents' annual salaries in a single weekend. And after watching that, it became Case's dream job. The problem was, he knew the odds, especially in his situation. His Wi-Fi was barely good enough to even watch YouTube. Uploading to it or streaming on Twitch, forget it. So he buried it. He graduated high school, bounced between jobs, often working 2 at a time, just to keep the lights on. For 6 years. 6 years of clocking in somewhere he didn't want to be. 6 years of watching other guys his age blow up online doing the exact same thing he'd given up on.
But more boring. But more boring. Dude, I think like 2019, this is just like, it's obviously subjective take, but I think the streamers that exist now are objectively more entertaining than the streamers from like 2018 to 2022. Bro, most of Twitch in like the Fortnite days was just people that were good at video games and had no personality. Like, there were guys that weren't that, but like pre-COVID, most of Twitch was just pro gamers. Like, that's it.
By the end of it, Case was broke. Burnout.
Like Ninja and Myth, Daquan, they were like the first personalities. Tfue, like they were the first guys that had more to say than he's cracked. Ludwig, bro, Ludwig blew up in like COVID. Ludwig was big in like 2020. Like, I'm saying pre that. I'm saying like 2017 streamers. Like Pokimane and like the 5 other people. Those are like the only people that are like memorable. Oh, Tyler won. Oh, never mind. My point is completely removed. Tyler 1 was the pinnacle of streaming. Oh my God, that guy was so entertaining. He still is so entertaining. Dude, oh my God. Tyler 1 days when he was banned from League, Delore. Never mind, I'm wrong. There are gems. There are gems, but they're far and few. That's Queso?
He was 1 bad week away from walking into a recruiter's office.
That's AI.
And signing up for the military. Then his mom stepped in, and she asked him the question that changed everything. Why not take a real shot at
Wow, Queso was going to join the military.
the whole streaming thing? What's the worst that happens? Now, streaming is one of the most competitive
That is him. It's just an older photo.
jobs on the planet. And if
Dude, I'm going to have the take that I think Queso could just no warm-up bench 315. Like, he just has that fucking barrel build that's just like, he could just go he could just sit down on a bench, hit 315, get up and walk away.
you're like Case, trying to pursue it full time, you need to understand.
It's not hard when you weigh 400 pounds. Queso does not weigh 400 pounds.
There's levels to this.
How tall is Queso? Bro, he probably was like 280. 300. If he's like 6'2", if he's like 6'2", he probably was like 300 pounds. Bro, weighing 400 pounds? I don't think you've ever seen somebody in real life that weighs 400 pounds if you think Queso weighs 400 pounds.
Level 1, you can quit your job. Level 2, you're living large. And at level 3, you're the top 1% of the top 1%. Now, there's no direct
Sorry, what levels did he just say?
levels to this. Level 1, you can quit your job. Level 2, you're living large. And at level 3, you're the top 1% of the top 1%. Now, there's no direct translation from Twitch viewers to money. So for the sake of the example, we're going to say you reach level 1 at around 100 viewers. Once you're there, you can take the leap to streaming full time, which getting there sounds totally reasonable.
That's a very fair assumption. I would agree with that. I think it really is an average. Because Twitch viewers is so fluctuative on income off subs, how many cyclical chatters you have, how many hours you're streaming, and how many ads you're running, that like to be able to stream full time, I would say you have to average between 60 and 150. It varies depending on audience. Like you could be a 60 viewer streamer and be full time, but like the average full time streamer that wants to make like 35K annually, you probably need like 120 viewers, and you probably need to stream like 50 hours a week.
It's not.
Which is more than a 9 to 5, but you're also sitting at a desktop.
Somehow convincing 100 people to watch you live is brutal. In the past year, 18.4 million people opened up Twitch and broadcasted live on the platform. I want you to guess how many of them actually made it to
Wait. What did he just say?
How convincing 100 people to watch you live is brutal. In the past year, 18.4 million people opened up Twitch and broadcasted live on the platform.
18.4 million people streamed in the last year?
18.4 million people opened up Twitch.
Wow. 18.4 million people streamed. Not even watched a stream.
And broadcasted live on the platform. I want you to guess how many of them actually made it to level 1.
Actually made it to level 1. 100K. 18.4. Or did he say 8.4? He said 18.4 million people streamed last year. How many of them have 100 viewers? 100,000. I think there's probably 100,000 streamers that average over 50 viewers. Over 100, maybe 50K? 50K streamers? More? You think there's more than 100,000 streamers on Twitch with over 100 viewers? I don't know, man. There's so many spaces on Twitch. If you just scroll the gaming category, it's just like endless.
Here's it. Throw a number out there. The answer is 165,000.
That's not that far off. I actually lowballed it.
500.
Yeah, 165,000 full-time streamers.
36. That's less than 1%. For every person who gets to level 1, there's 100 that don't. Every big streamer you see today spent days, weeks, if not months streaming to an audience of 0. I mean, take Jinxie for example. He streamed to just 5 viewers for a year and a half before he ever made it.
5 viewers? He's grinding!
And I'm throwing all of these numbers at you for a reason, because without them, you wouldn't understand how truly insane what happens next is. Okay, so hate to interrupt myself here, but let's say you're like Queso and don't love your day job. Maybe you're not all that interested in streaming.com to start your business today. Queso hit level 1 in the first hour.
God, man, it's like a fucking mind virus. You just know when an ad's coming.
In the first hour of his first ever stream. And he didn't just get lucky.
Hey, yo.
Wait, what? Queso averaged 100 viewers in his first stream?
Today.
Because in like 24 hours, y'all took me from nothing to crazy.
You see, Queso hit level 1 in the first hour of his first ever stream. And he didn't just get lucky.
Hey, y'all came through deep from the top, man.
In the days before he went live for the first time.
Oh, was he streaming on TikTok and like posting clips? Because I'm pretty sure he just like his first like half year streaming was just 2K, right? He was like big in the 2K space.
Queso was already laying the ground.
Isn't that weird how like most streamers, there's so many streamers like Aiden Ross and Queso. Who else streamed 2K and got big? Didn't Speed used to be a 2K creator? So many guys stream 2K and then abandon that shit. Like, cause fuck 2K. Los, yeah, Neon. There's so many guys. Kai was a YouTuber though. There's so many guys that streamed 2K, got big, and then just dipped because 2K sucks.
Groundwork. He spent days filming and editing clips of him playing NBA 2K23. And on September 10th, 2022, he uploaded 22 videos to TikTok. The next morning, he woke up to over 10,000 followers and a comment section flooded with one question. So that night, he went live for the first time and the floodgates opened.
When I look down and I see 126 viewers, bro, I cannot believe it.
From that day on, he followed the same routine. Clock in the 9 to 5, hit the second job, cut a few lawns, then come home and stream until he couldn't keep it.
Oh my god, is that why his stream time was 6 p.m. Central? But now he streams at like 10, bro.
His eyes open.
He'd be running a night shift.
I don't want to go sleep, man. I want to go to work, man. I want another build, dog. All I want to do is make builds and play 2K forever. Why do I gotta go work?
After each stream, he'd find the best moments, clip them, and fire them back onto TikTok. The loop fed itself. Inside a week, he'd blown past 100,000 TikTok followers. Every stream was pulling 500 plus concurrent viewers.
Dude said, call the boss quit. This your life now, cuz? Dude, imagine.
And the number that actually mattered, he was making more money streaming at night than he was at his day job.
And no, y'all literally just donated more than I make in a week in one night. Bruh.
But Queso kept his head on straight. What shows up overnight can also disappear overnight. So before he quit his day job, he needed proof that this wasn't a fluke.
That's so smart of him, man, because it is like, there's so many people that get big on Twitch, and for like a month, they're making 1,000 a day. And they're going, holy, I am set. And then they fall off. And now they don't have a job. So it's like, oh, fuck. You know, like that happens all the time, amount of people, not less on streaming, more on TikTok, but like that was like earlier. You remember the amount of content houses and shit, motherfuckers just full committing to like moving across the fucking world, starting content up, then they fall off. And it's just like, oh shit, I can't run this trend into the ground anymore. Like,
he made a deal with his chat, hit 5,000 Twitch subs, and he'd quit his job.
That's pretty fair. Because that was probably pre $3 split. So if he hit 5K subs, he's making 10K. He's making what, 10,250 a month? Or no, 12,500 a month off subs. So he's making like over 100K a year. And then he decides he could quit.
This today we're gonna remember.
Because that's secure enough to where if you fell off, you'd have enough leeway money. Wow, he had the zombie sub emote. Chat, yo, this is like recognizable to anyone that fucking streams. If you ever started streaming, this is like this is the default sub. Why it's a zombie, I don't know. This is like OG stream setup. Like this is like your 5th stream ever. Like you have the zombie. Dude, mine's the fucking Joe Bart. Mine's still the old one. I don't even know if my alert box works anymore. How do I test that? Well, it's and Finn for the sub. IX, Nell, Alex. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. I used to have that. I want to say, appreciate how much you are. Keep up the work. Oh, no. You can't have TTS. You can't have TTS. TTS can be really bad. No, I'm not keeping that shit. It's so distracting. I don't have my alert box anymore.
Remember forever, you feel me? This is a day we gonna remember forever.
I could do a TTS day, but people just spam I. That or they say like some crazy shit. I don't think there would ever be a problem with TTS. There 100% would be. Max up for the sub.
You know I love y'all, man. Thank you, bro. It's all y'all, you feel me? Thank you, man. Full-time Queso in the building, and I'm laying in their mouth, too.
Within just a few weeks, it was a done deal. Queso's fan base was new, but dedicated, and they wanted to see him pursue this thing full-time.
Like I said, I've been dreaming of wanting to, be a streamer, a content creator since I was 13 years old. I finally took the leap, bro. I finally took the leap, and y'all came.
I never dreamed. I never pursued being a content creator, but I always used to commentate my own Clash of Clans gameplay on the toilet.
Came through for you, boy.
I remember wanting to be like a gamer, but like mobile games. I remember I was like, damn, dude, how sick would this be to be like, yo, y'all remember the OG Clash of Clans creators? They would gem their town hall to like town hall 10, and I'd be like, dude, if I had the money to make that a YouTube video.
For real, y'all came through crazy.
All right, guys, so we're gonna be doing a Hog Rider build today.
Now, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows from here. His internet was still garbage, like genuinely bad. Streams would lag or even just end because the connection bottomed out.
Do you see what I deal with?
And when you're trying to build an audio,
Holy shit.
and when you're trying
Was that download or upload? He has 1 megabit per second download.
connection bottomed out.
Do you see what I deal with?
And when you're trying to build an audience, that's the kiss of death. If your stream ends, they move on to the next.
What does that mean? To download Call of Duty would take like 6 days.
Eventually, numbers started slipping.
I don't even know how he was live. Like, I don't know how he was broadcast. Well, streaming's upload speed, but him having a 1 download, I don't know how he was streaming.
For a couple months, it looked like maybe the whole thing was a fluke. Maybe the bubble had already popped.
You know, I seen the numbers when I very first started. You know, the hype was there because I first blew up. Had like 800 viewers every night. Then y'all seen it dip to like, 100, 150. I was like, I gotta do something different or it's gonna go under.
Then he picked up a different game. Hogwarts
Oh my god, Hogwarts Legacy is when he blew up, and that's like not that hype of a game. I remember seeing his Hogwarts clips on TikTok.
Legacy. It was kind of a weird choice. It had a totally different audience from the 2K crowd he'd built, but he streamed it anyway. Clipped a moment and posted it to TikTok.
Wasn't that like a bad game, most people would say? I feel like that game didn't do that great.
Look, I see the sun
That's even more shocking.
peeking through the window a little bit. Sleep schedule gone now. Gotta make Hufflepuff proud, though. Hey, it is.
I want to look at his Twitch tracker. Here's mine for fucking perspective. This is like every month you could see where the views up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. You usually have dip months, peak months. Like let's look at Jinxie too. Jinxie was bottomed out for like 3 years. And then right around here he just starts peaking. Jinxie's in like second arc right now. What is that face? What is that? What is that face he's making right now? Let's look at Queso. Wow, Queso's like the most consistent creator ever. Like, yeah, 600 views first month. Dipped down to 189 average in January of 23. And then he hit in January of 24, he hit 56K, and he has literally averaged that every month for 2 years. Wow. 60 seconds? Bro, he has like 1,000 hours in that game. Well, now it's probably a yearly salary a day, but I'm saying when he had 2,500 viewers, he was probably making like 300K a year.
Heavy, I mean it. At any given moment, there are about 3 million users on Twitch watching content. When you break down the viewer distribution by channel rank, the picture gets pretty clear. Out of the millions of channels on the platform, the top 250 pull over half the viewership. That's the difference between level 2 and level 3. While it seems like the easiest jump on the ladder here, it's actually the most difficult. There's a specific blueprint nearly every streamer has followed to make this jump. Here, I'll break it down for you. What you're looking at right now is 5 of the biggest streamers on the planet. Each at the moment they were averaging exactly 2,500 viewers. Pay attention to the setups. None of them are exciting. The rooms are pretty basic, the camera quality kinda sucks. There's no production value. They look like what they are. Just guys streaming from their bedrooms. Now fast forward to when those same
Speed lighting off fireworks in his bedroom.
streamers are pulling 10,000 viewers a night. Everything's changed. The lighting's dialed in. The cameras are crisp. The room's
Lighting is still not dialed in on Speed's camera. Speed had 100K viewers on a webcam.
The cameras are crisp. The rooms look intentional. This is the blueprint kicking in, and it all starts with one realization. At this level, streaming isn't just a job anymore. It's a business. And like a business, the goal is to make as much money as possible. The internet, for whatever reason, craves a spectacle. And the spectacle game is pretty easy to play. You've kind of just got to spend money to make money. The setup is just the start. Next comes the move to LA. Buy the mansion, drop the I just bought my
That's where I disagree. Next is the move to LA. The gun goes off. Nope.
dream car video. Hire a dozen editors to pump out clips around the clock. By the time you're clearing
Now in the streamer days, it's you move to Austin, Texas. That's where every fucking streamer on the face of the earth lives. Outside of like the core boys and like some OG streamers. Now it's I moved to Austin, Texas or Atlanta.
50,000 viewers, it turns into an optimization race. Every stream, every upload, every second of content is engineered to milk the cat.
Or they live in LA, but they own a place in Nevada and say they live there six months and a day out of the year, so they get state taxed in Nevada.
Cash cow. The longer you stay on the top, the more efficient it becomes. And weirdly, the more the internet praises you for it. But the spectacle only works if people are still looking. Relevancy is the whole game. The second your numbers dip, the money goes with it. So you're forced to stay visible. You hit the podcast circuit, impulsive on Monday.
6 months and a day, because it has to be your your property. Like, if you want to claim that you live somewhere and get state tax in that, because streaming, normally you're getting taxed in the state that you make your income, but streaming, you get taxed in whatever area you're in while you stream. So, like, streamers will try to say that they live in Nevada, like, 6 months out of the year. Not all of them. A lot of them just eat the taxes, but...
Day in blank on Thursday. You show up to every mainstream streamer event. You become a permanent fixture in the conversation because the conversation is the product. And the fastest way to stay in the conversation is to stand next to someone bigger than you. Take those same 5 streamers and pull up their biggest streams of all time. Ninja, Fortnite with Drake, Hayden Ross, the Donald Trump interview, Kai Cenat, the LeBron stream that pulled over 1 million concurrent viewers.
Yeah, but there's, like, certain streamers that only... Like, there's certain streamers that collab in any way that they can, and then there's streamers that collab when they want to. Okay, there's three things. Streamers that collab with everybody they can, that is big. Streamers that collab anytime they want, and streamers that just don't collab. Queso never collabs. I feel like I collab infrequently, but, like, I'll do Jinxie's tournaments or gaming days. I might go to an event. Like, I did the thing with Jack Pembroke. Like, I might do streamer games or something, like shit like that. But usually, like, I don't go to streamer awards or I don't do that stuff. But, like, then there's streamers that just do every single fucking thing. Any collab they could do.
That's the blueprint. I'm not necessarily saying it's...
He sometimes collabs with Sketch and Jinxie. Yeah, but it's like once a month. Maybe less.
bulletproof or
Queso is 99% a solo streamer.
guaranteed, but it's the safe route. Every streamer who's made it to the top 250 has run some version of that exact playbook based on constant evolution, but Queso ignored this approach altogether. His strategy is quite literally the opposite in just about every possible sense. The last time we talked about Queso, he was fresh off of Hogwarts, averaging 2,500 viewers. So let's run that same comparison from earlier and fast forward to when he's at 10,000. Not much has changed. I mean, sure, he did buy a new house, but he moved from a trap house to a trailer just across town. Either way, at the end of the day, his computer monitor is still being held up with a vacuum cleaner.
If I don't have the vacuum cleaner holding up the back of the monitor, it'll fall over. And then back here are my PCs. You can tell they're being held up by books as well.
And the camera quality seems to somehow...
How, bruh? Like, bro, come on, just get a setup. Like, he has a sponsor with Starforge. He has a sponsor with Starforge PCs. He could get sent, like, $20,000 PCs for free, and he's holding them up with fucking dictionaries. Like, why are we doing that? Like, I just don't...
have gotten worse.
Chat, my stream quality is actually so crispy. It looks like it's in 4K.
Since Hogwarts,
4K, I literally could see... I could see the pixels on your face.
It's in 4K.
Since Hogwarts, he's continued to stream 4 to 6 nights a week. Same time, same chat, rotating through whatever random games he feels like. Supermarket Simulator, Granny, Dress to Impress.
What is this? Why is it on my front page? Playing it.
Games a normal person wouldn't think to stream. But then you watch for 5 minutes and you start to get it.
This is the funniest dude on the internet right now.
Just plays the most random everything.
Queso, where did he come from? 200,000 viewers playing Fall Guys yesterday.
Because the game isn't the point. The chat isn't there for the games. They're there to watch him fall out of his chair for the 10th time this month and narrate it like he's describing a car accident.
Yo, that almost killed me. Oh!
Yeah, he's like a different level of mainstream. He's somebody that you watch when it's like, I just want to watch a streamer versus I want to be involved with, like, the meta. Like, people that want to be involved with the meta watch, like, the guys that collab with each other all the time.
Yo! Chat! The chair is dead, dude!
To watch him get jump scared
His
in a
chair.
car accident.
Yo, that almost killed me. Oh! Yo! Chat! The chair is dead, dude!
To watch him get jump scared by a horror game and scream at a volume that blows out the mic. And that's why it worked. By January of 2024, Queso was averaging over 50,000 concurrent viewers every single night, making him the #3 ranked streamer on all of Twitch.
Like, my mind is weird. Like, in my mind, I still don't have the thought of, like, I still made it. Yeah, because in my mind, I feel like if I have that thought and tell myself that I made it, you don't want to get, like, lazy. It's going to go downhill. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Every analyst will tell you he could...
Oh, and I could tell his webcam is stretch resed. Like, his webcam is, like, fucked up. Like, it doesn't fill a 1920 1080. It's like, he's, like, pulling it. Like, it's like... like, and then he's moving it out of the way. Like, it's just so
be twice the size he
crazy.
is if he just ran the playbook like everyone else. And honestly, they're probably right. But here's the thing. Queso never looked at any of that and felt like he was losing something. Buying a house in the hills, pulling up in a supercar, collecting all the things that say you've made it. None of that ever seemed to be important to him. And there's nothing wrong with wanting those things.
I mean, doesn't he have like a sick-ass warehouse or something? He showed that one time. He has like a sick-ass warehouse that's like really expensive with like a pool table. It's like a gaming area.
Creators go in with exactly that goal in mind. But Queso...
Bro, I'm telling you, he makes most of his money on YouTube like I do. Like, I think outside of it, he has like 100,000 Twitch subs. Outside of that, bro, the majority of his money is probably from YouTube like me. I don't run mid-rolls. I don't think I get it if you're just a streamer, but if you do YouTube, bro, like I deadass could make so much more money if I ran Twitch ads. And I'm not sitting here on some high horse like, oh, I'm so great. I don't run Twitch ads. I just think Twitch ads are annoying as fuck. And it's like, if I hit on a Twitch stream and I get hit with a 5-minute mid-roll, I am tabbing out of your stream faster than a fucking lightning striking a fucking metal pole. Like, I am not watching that shit. I run pre-rolls. You click on my stream, you have to watch 30-second minute ad, then you watch my shit ad-free for 5 hours even if you're not subbed. Motherfucker sub, because I put that shit in sub-only all the time. But, like, that I'm not trying to paywall chat. It's just I have to sometimes. You guys get too riled up.
Whatever a month.
So that's the money half of the blueprint. The mansion, the supercar, the optimization strategy.
It's so different on YouTube. I've said this 5,000 times. YouTube ads, not intrusive. You get hit with an ad, it stops, you pick up where you left off. Twitch ad, you miss the stream. You just miss the stream. You miss 5 minutes of the stream.
But the blueprint isn't only about money. The other half of the blueprint is relevancy. The streaming world has a short memory. And the way you fight that is by staying in the conversation. Podcasts, events, collabs, it all comes down to the same idea. Stand next to someone bigger than you, and you get to share some of their spotlight. Well, if you thought he was underperforming on the money side of the blueprint, just listen to this. In 3 years as one of the biggest streamers on the planet, he's done exactly one traditional collab. Jinxie.
What's the furthest you've ever traveled?
Florida. Then that was one time to go to Jinxie's house.
And that collab is
the furthest he's ever traveled in his life? Or, wait. The furthest he's ever traveled in his life? Or is he saying for a collab? He's scared of planes? The furthest he's ever traveled from Arkansas in his life is Florida. That's like 3 states away. That is actually crazy.
Is almost word for word the only existing footage of Queso.
Bro, he doesn't fly? Bro, still. I feel like he should get like a camper. Bro, he should buy a camper and get somebody to drive his ass to like fucking Alaska. Or some shit.
Outside of his own house.
My friend brought this up.
Because you could drive really far from the U.S.
Yesterday to me when we were...
He got a Sprinter? Okay.
We were chilling. He said it's crazy that Jinxie literally has the only recorded footage of me outside of my own stream setup. Like, he is the only one that's got me out of my room.
Matter of fact, it was the first time he'd ever left the state he was born in.
So this is the first time...
What? The first time he ever left Arkansas, he was in his 20s. He never stepped out of state bounds. I never knew that. I knew he was afraid of flying. I know he doesn't travel often. But I would have thought he was like, oh yeah, I've been to like Key West once or some shit. No. Wow. He's never left his state.
You ever been out of like Florida? Or out of Arkansas, my bad. Yeah. Wow.
It's just, I don't know, I'll be getting homesick. I get away from home for too long. I'm just, man, I don't know.
Over the last 3 years, Queso has won 5 different awards.
And the Streamer Award goes to...
Queso!
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 He never there, bruh. It's always his face.
Oh.
He hasn't shown up to a single one in person.
I haven't. I've been nominated twice and I didn't go to either of them, bro. That's just in LA, man. Am I really gonna? I gotta fly out 6 hours to show up for 3 and then leave and fly back.
Mr. Beast tweeted you. Oh yeah, I talk.
I'd rather just stream. Like, is that fucked to say? Like, I appreciate being nominated, but I'm just not gonna go to LA. Like, I'd rather just stream. Like,
yeah, I can't even go on.
It's different if it's like a big event, like Streamer Games. I almost did last year, and this year I would love to do if he does it again, where it's like the Olympics and it's like 3 days of athletic events. It's like that I could reason in my head to be like, okay, yeah, I'll spend 3 days flying versus, okay, I'm gonna fly out for a red carpet event, sit in a room full of streamers, get drunk, and then fly home.
Mr. Beast video due to fear of airplanes. Ain't that bad, chat?
According to the
It'd be worth a video, but I'm not getting a video out of it. It's all copyright. It's all what do you mean I'm getting a video out of it? I can't re-upload that.
blueprint, all of those things just come with the territory of being in the
Streamer games could be worth a video. Streamer games, I could show up, fucking, you know, eat shit on a track field, have like a funny highlight moments, and react to myself running. But like
top 1%.
Streamer awards, it's not really.
But Queso is avoiding all of it. And when you stack it all up, not going to award shows, turning down the collabs, even the fact that he's only left the state of Arkansas once.
Great GamerStop's flavor. That was Goof Juice. I know it when I see it.
Even the fact that he's only left
Code Bart
the state of Arkansas once, you start to wonder if there's more to it than just not caring.
Chat, I didn't tell y'all this, bro. When I was changing setups to go from the trap house into the trailer, I was literally a mental wreck for like a week straight. Because I don't know if anybody else has this, but dude, I have like some form of horrific OCD that I've had for years, that if something even minor changes, I'm gonna die.
You see, OCD is one of the most misunderstood conditions out there. People hear the word and picture
like he's gonna die, like physically, like cease to exist.
Someone who just likes things clean and organized. And while that can be a part of it, that's not exactly what it is. At its core, OCD is anxiety. For Queso, moving into a new house meant moving into an environment that was full of variables his brain hadn't had the chance to map out yet.
Like when I take my hat off and put it on the counter, same spot every night. If it goes in a different spot, I'm dead.
Everything becomes unpredictable. And for someone
wow, that really explains why he hasn't left the state, though.
With OCD, an unpredictable environment is one thing that can't be controlled. Each unknown stacks on top of the last until his brain is sent into overdrive.
Chat, here's some lore for you. Every time I would leave to work in the morning, I would go outside my house and I would have to check that my doorknob was locked 37 times.
37 times? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like just like feeling it lock?
I would have to start my drive to work, take a block back around to my house and check it another 11 times. And then I could...
Wow, that's like extreme OCD. I did not know he had that.
Which explains why his setup has barely changed over the years. It's one of the places where his brain already knows the answers to
maybe a little exaggeration, maybe, but I feel like most of his stories are like full for real.
All the questions. It's his rules at his pace, all in an environment that makes him most comfortable. But that need for predictability doesn't stay contained to his house. It follows him everywhere.
I went out in public 3 times in a row. I got recognized all 3 times. I never went outside again, bro. Like some people, bro, came up like, hey, yo, can I get a picture? Everybody started looking. I'm like, oh, man.
Bro, I don't dislike when I get recognized. I dislike when somebody recognizes me and then they just stare at me for extended periods of time or like tail me at a grocery store. That shit's creepy, bro. Just walk up to me. The amount of times I have motherfuckers huddle in a group staring at their phones and going, I just walk up to them. I go, hey, you know me? Like, let's get this weird shit over with. Like, I'm just going to break because either I'm going to sit there for another 30 minutes before one of them walks up to me, or I'm just going to walk up to you and go, you know who I am. And I'm not rude when I say it. I'm like, hey, I go, you know who I am? They go, yeah. I go, I'm just trying to break this. Because they make eye contact with me. They know I'm staring at them.
And dude,
the only time I really get tweaked out is when I'm like super high. Super high. They walk up to me, Joe Bart. I go, oh no.
I was about to
oh no.
pass out.
And then I'm going to have a really awkward conversation. And one of these, oh, it was nice meeting you. And I think about that for about 5 minutes.
Man.
Outside of that room, he controls nothing. Who's around him, how they got there, whether someone grabs his shoulder before he sees it coming. None of it is up to him.
I don't go out in public. I don't. Never.
When he's at home, it's easier to manage because, well, he's in his own house. But in public, there's no way to make the unknown stop. It's not only uncomfortable, but also insanely overwhelming.
You would have a better chance of actually winning the Powerball lottery than ever seeing me in public. That's how rare it is. No.
Bro, but that's so sad. It's like, bro, he has money to spend, you know? I feel like it's sick if he's able to, like, go and see shit, do shit. Fuck.
No joke.
The blueprint says the path forward revolves around a constant...
Fix your hair. That's worse. See, you fucked it up even more, jackass. Now it's going to sit like that.
State of evolution. The more you change, the newer things are, the more excited people are to watch.
What do you want my hair to be, like a perfect bullet? Like it's a Lego haircut? Just right onto my head.
But for Queso, that path has never really been accessible the same way it is for everyone else. And yet, here he is.
Literally almost 1,000 away from 10 million.
Oh, the cooking
Say
stream.
it ain't so. This is a moment in history? No, this is a moment in history.
Behind everything, the awards, the numbers, the journey from a rice mill to the #3 spot on Twitch. Almost nothing has actually changed.
You definitely
0.01.
gonna do this full time? Hey, I hope.
I don't understand how he was live.
Bro, CJ, that'd be a dream come true for you, boy, man. Maybe my parents don't have to work no more either. That'd be a dream come true too, bro.
He's been grounded in the fact that streaming was never about being the very best. It was always about building a life worth living, for himself and for the people he loves.
Wait, Mom, we're about to hit 10 million. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe what I'm seeing. We're about to hit 10 million!
I gotta turn this off. Come on.
No way we're actually about to hit it. We hit 10 million, baby! Let's go! 10 million on YouTube!
His mom was there before any of this
That
made
is so sweet.
sense.
She brought me some balloons in here! Yo! She brought me some balloons! Balloons!
You can't see it.
Get a pose in there with it.
Before all of the awards and money, before tens of thousands of people were waiting for him to go live, she was the
Oh my god, that's so sweet.
only one who pushed him to try streaming in
Oh
the
my god, that's like a happy cry moment, bro. That's so nice.
first place.
That's a damn
And his mom being so proud of him.
diamond play button! You've had this? What? It wouldn't be possible without y'all, Chad. And you know who else it wouldn't be possible without? My mom. Come stand in front of the camera. Look at that.
And his dad, the man who spent his whole life doing the kind of work nobody claps for.
My dad, for example, like, dude, his whole life just working. He's had multiple back surgeries, multiple wrist surgeries, multiple foot surgeries, all from just working his whole life.
The man he watched and worked alongside with do it with no
Bro,
complaints.
that's the biggest thing about manual labor, man. Like, especially like union work. Like, the money could be pretty good, but your body's gonna be fucked by the time you're like 50, dude. Anybody that's worked in like the electricians union, carpentry, construction, it's like you could do that and then you just have so many like you have the body of like a 70-year-old when you're 50.
I worked with my dad. We were both maintenance men. Maintenance ain't easy work. You know, you're crawling
HVAC shit,
under sinks, you're changing faucets, you're crawling up in attics, you know, all that, just nasty.
The same man that taught him how to work was eventually the one who told him to quit his regular job and do what he loved.
I remember the night we hit 5,000. I was like, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna call my boss. I remember I got him to call because I was scared. Like, hey, boss, you know, I'm playing video games for a living, but it'd sound better coming from my dad because, you know, my dad was essentially like his right-hand man.
Yep.
But yeah.
So when streaming became a reality,
Bro said electricians. Yeah, if you're like not like if you're the dude standing out on the side of the road flipping a sign, but like electricians that are like climbing in walls, wiring shit. That's pretty rough.
he made sure that the two
All right, maybe it was a bad example comparable to like carpenters or like fucking construction. You know what I mean?
people who spent their lives building
Why
up
are we dissing electricians? Is there like a union? Is there like a trade beef with electricians or some shit? Oh no, they got it easy.
never had to work again.
What has been like the most fulfilling thing that you've run into in your career?
Just that everybody gets to chill.
Yeah.
And they have to get away from the jobs they hated and everything like that, and we can all just chill and do this. That's the best thing. I was gonna say they're retired because you know they don't want to just chill and do nothing. They do a lot of stuff for me. Like my dad, if I need something to go get or something, he goes and gets it. My mom handles all.
Well, it's still a purpose. It's like they've been effectively retired from their job, but now they kind of like are mini assistants to Queso. You know what I mean?
All the background, like all of it.
If you ask Case, that's the whole story right there. In a world where overnight success has a way of quietly hollowing people out, Queso never let any of it change him.
The only thing I want to be is a place for people to go for 4 hours a night, forget about life, you know, crack some jokes, you know, have a good time, and just just chill out.
And that's why this story isn't over. Queso has already crossed the line that mattered the most. He turned his dream into real life. He helped his family stop working. He became the place he always wanted to be for others. So whatever happens next is just the icing on the cake.
That was an amazing video. That was a good ass watch, bro. Oh my cinema. Oh, fucking golf cart fucking YouTuber dude too. They put that together amazingly. Queso's greatest trait is this humility. It's like a regular person you want to be friends with. Yeah, he seems like a lot of streamers. It's like, oh, you kind of seem like just like a figure versus like Queso's just like a guy you'd see in a store. Top 10 worst years in human history.
Around for roughly 200,000 years. And honestly, most...
Let me guess a few of them. Something with the Black Plague. World War II when the bombs dropped. In human history, I was going to say in history, probably when the meteor hit the dinosaurs. Humans weren't around then. 2008. Why? The housing market crash? Y2K when the world didn't end.
That time was spent dying in pools of our own diarrhea.
2020. I don't think like COVID years are top 10 worst years in human history. Yeah, Holocaust. That's why I said World War II.
So when you think of the worst years in human history, it's basically all of them. But that would be a boring video. So let's be prisoners of the moment and allow recency bias to cloud our analysis as we rank the top 10 worst years to be alive in human history. Number 10, 1918. This year kicks off with a
I feel like that was a pretty fire year now. Wasn't that right before the Roaring 20s? Roaring 20s was like a great time to fucking like be a middle-class American.
Little something called the Spanish flu.
Unless you were black or a woman or a minority or a non-white man or disabled. Okay, so maybe it wasn't a great time to be alive during the 1920s.
Surprisingly, this flu wasn't
or gay. Yeah, okay.
Actually from Spain, but it was still no bueno. Exact numbers for the death toll are kind of hard to pin down.
Oh, Spanish flu.
But estimates range from 20 to 50 million human deaths globally. The Spanish flu was
50 million deaths. How many people died from COVID? 7.1 million. Wow. So Spanish flu was like 6 times that? No, 7 point something times.
Particularly deadly for 2 reasons. 1, it was a brand new strain of the flu. And 2, the conditions of the Great War made it so much easier for the disease to spread. Soldiers returning home brought the flu with them, infecting people in remote areas who had no immunity to the virus. What was extra special about the Spanish flu was that it was unusually deadly for young adults compared to other flu viruses of the time, leading to a significantly higher death toll. This disease...
Chat, if you got the Spanish flu, do you think you would eat that shit? I think I got a pretty weak immune system when it comes to, like, big illnesses. I had COVID twice, and I was fine. But that was COVID. Spanish flu, like, part of me... Okay, I would never want it, but part of me is like, would I die with the Black Plague? Yeah. Yeah. No modern medicine, right? Like, let's say you get the Spanish flu, but you're not allowed to take, like, Advil, Tylenol, nothing. Like, you're just you're ripping it. You know, like, you're lasting that shit out. It's wraps. Most of us are dying.
It was terrifying for doctors.
Black Plague has to be on this. The Black Plague was so bad that people thought it was an evil that brought the end of the world, bro. That many people fucking died. There were bodies in the streets, piles of dead people. When the Black Plague was like the devil himself coming back to Earth, bro. Like a third, it was a third of Europe. I'm pretty sure it was more than a third of Europe. I think it was maybe a third of Europe as a whole, but a ton of, like, certain areas, like, almost everybody died. How many people in Europe died of the Black Plague? 50 million people, but this was in the 1300s. So 50 million people in the 1300s is way more than the 1900s. 30 to 60% of the continent's population of Europe died. Florence, for example, lost up to 60% of its population, similar to London. So, like, heavily populated cities lost, like, more than half of their people.
Just because of how quickly it spread, or how quickly their
It was a third of the world. That's what it was.
Patients died, but the process of how people died from it. Heliotrope cyanosis was a symptom of the Spanish flu, where a patient's skin would slowly turn purple as their lungs filled with fluid, preventing them from getting enough oxygen into their bloodstream. The blue/purple color would start in their lips and fingers, but eventually spread across their whole body as they neared death. After the patient passed, their entire body would then quickly turn from purple to black. Truly horrific stuff. To make matters worse, 1918 was also the final year of World War I, which saw another 5 million global casualties and made most of Europe no fun. Also in this year, you had the Russian Revolution going on, which ended the House of Romanov for good with the assassination of Nicholas II and his family this year. This revolution allowed Vladimir Lenin to take power, where he established a totalitarian dictatorship that oversaw the mass killing of political dissidents. The revolution was marked by brutal civil war and famine, which killed millions more. And finally, the Treaty of Versailles was being drafted, which, while not initially terrible, put Germany in a super bad mood that had some pretty major downstream consequences. But more on that later. Number 9, 1492.
What happened in 1492? I feel like there's a gap. I feel like there's a gap in human knowledge. Like, most humans know a lot of shit that happened between 1800 and, like, today. And then you know a little bit about the 1600s and, like, Jamestown and, you know, fucking witch trial shit, blah, blah, blah. You know, you could even go back to, like, certain, like, poets or people that were alive, like musicians in, like, 1300s. 1492, oh, Columbus. Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. Ooh. That one slipped the brain for a minute there. Yeah.
We all know in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. But by doing
you gotta say the rhyme for me to know. You can't just show me the date.
that, Columbus also opened up a portal to hell for nearly everyone who is currently living in the Americas.
Yo, that motherfucker was a horrible person, bro. They don't teach. Yo, they deadass didn't teach. I feel like now they probably do. I remember when I was a kid, bro, they did not teach about Columbus being a horrible person. They were like, Columbus founded the Americas. That motherfucker lied to the Native Americans and said that the fucking moon was gonna, or the sun was gonna disappear, or the moon was gonna disappear. They lied. He was like, hey, the sun's gonna disappear if you don't fucking give us food. And they were like, no, it won't, because who the fuck would believe that? And he just knew knowledge about astronomy, and he said his god was more powerful than theirs. And then there was a fucking solar eclipse, and the sun disappeared. And then they fucking gave them all their food, and then died.
Every indigenous person that came in contact with the Europeans...
I thought he said the moon would be of blood. I'm pretty sure he just predicted a solar eclipse. Yeah, in 1504, there was a total lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse. During his fourth voyage, Christopher Columbus induced the inhabitants of Jamaica to continue provisioning him and his hungry men, intimidating them by predicting a total lunar eclipse. Some claim Columbus used the ephemeris of the German astronomer, but Columbus himself attributed the prediction to the Almanac of Abraham Zacuto. He got beached, blah, blah, blah. They needed food. They couldn't give it to him, and then he, like, basically just, like,
settler was
lied to them. He would also, like, you know, do some pretty fucked up shit in general.
Killed by a disease, killed in the slave trade, killed in war, or died of a broken heart. And while it certainly didn't all happen in 1 year, the introduction of European settlers to the Americas ended up killing 90% of the indigenous population.
Even if it was a peaceful interaction, Europeans brought over diseases that the Native Americans hadn't encountered yet. And then they all died. Same thing with, like, a lot of encounters with, like, Amazonian, like, tribes. Like, you just, like, go see them. You could be peaceful, and then they're all just gonna get, like, fucking smallpox and die.
Diseases like smallpox, measles, and influenza decimated communities that had no immunity to these foreign illnesses. I guess one could argue that the events of 1492 had positive effects.
It was not peaceful. I'm saying there was multiple interactions. There were instances of peaceful interactions. Many were not.
On much of humanity.
I'm not with Columbus. I'm talking about, like, people just arriving to the Americas.
Leading to the age of exploration and the eventual globalization of trade and culture that brought us things like pizza and chocolate. However, the near extinction of an entire continent civilization does put it on our list. Number 8, 2008. This is probably the
housing market crash. I feel like we're jumping pretty heavily here. The housing market crash of 2008 was worse than smallpox.
Height of recency bias, but
and Vladimir Lenin.
Who cares? It sucked. 2008 was the year the entire world realized that rich people just basically make up how much money there is. And for a number of reasons too complicated to go into in this video, something called Lehman Brothers went out of business, and then the entire global economy collapsed. Stock markets around the world crashed. The American auto industry nearly went belly up, and the cost of food and gas.
And the bubble of borrowing money or having debt to buy assets is like what's happening right now with the AI bubble. I'm not trying to like make people panic, but the shit that happened right before the 2008 housing market crash where people were taking on debt to buy houses and assets is exactly what's happening right now with big businesses. So if it fails, they're fucked.
Went through the roof. It was the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression, causing millions of Americans to lose their jobs and homes. Also, if you've ever wondered, why do houses cost so much these days? Well, in the aftermath of the 2008 mortgage crisis, new home construction basically stopped for about 10 years because nobody could get a loan. And since there wasn't a 10-year hiatus on unprotected sex, we now have way too many people and way too few houses. So thanks again 2008 for still ruining all of our lives. What? China and Australia's economy actually grew during the Great Recession? What do you mean America isn't the center of the universe? Number 7, 73,000 BC.
Yeah, I feel like that's a little absurd to put the 2008 housing market crisis as one of the worst years in human history. Like, I wouldn't even say that's like top 50. Like, you could say 30s was like the Great Depression, because that was bad for the world as well.
Okay, so we're a little loosey-goosey on the exact year, but trust me, whenever it was bad. Rewind
73,000 BC. I love how we're jumping around history right now. We got Spanish flu. We have Christopher Columbus, 2008, and now 73,000 BC.
Clock 70 or so millennia, and you'll witness what's known as a super
Pompeii. When was Pompeii? Wait, is this Pompeii?
Volcano eruption.
No, Pompeii was not 73,000 BC. 73,000 BC, there wasn't fucking cities yet. When was Pompeii? That was probably like fucking 3,000 years ago. 79 CE, so 2,000 years ago.
This particular event is known as the Toba catastrophe and is probably the thing Indonesia is second most famous for after Komodo dragons. This eruption set off a 10-year volcanic winter that nearly eliminated the entire human species. The Toba eruption released so much volcanic ash into the atmosphere that it blocked sunlight, leading to a drastic drop in global temperatures. The few survivors faced harsh conditions, with scarce food and resources, struggling to maintain their communities. The entire human population left on Earth was somewhere between 3,000 and 10,000 people, or roughly the size of Brandon, South Dakota.
And we're all descendants of them. Wow. We're all related to those people. I feel like that's so cool that like every person has a common ancestor, like what, 60 people ago or something. Like there's somebody that so we're all related in some way. Yeah. But not in a sense of like incest. But then I'm pretty sure this era is when they were making like was it whale bones? No, I think it might've been like, what's that motherfucker from Ice Age? A mammoth bone huts. Yeah, people used to live in this. Stuff that looked like this. Ukraine. Mammoth bone structure homes. This was like when it was like really fucking cold out. They would make shit like this out of just straight animal remains because it was so insulative. And they would put like hides and other stuff on the outside because it was just cold as fuck.
You've never heard of Brandon, South Dakota? Okay, Madison Square Garden can hold around 20,000 people, so the entire population left on Earth after that eruption could fit in MSG twice. This phenomenon is known as a genetic bottleneck, and is also why we're all kind of related. Number 6, 1929. The Roaring Twenties came to an abrupt end in 1929 when the U.S. stock market crashed, setting off, stop me if you've heard this before, a global economic collapse. The Great Depression that followed was a decade-long economic—
Oh no! Oh no! American steel is down! Let me go withdraw all my money from the bank. And then they had no money.
Disaster that affected almost every country in the world.
Yeah, imagine pulling up to a bank going, I want to withdraw my money. And they go, we don't have it. Huh?
Mental health was—
we don't have it. Huh?
At an all-time low immediately following the market crash. Self-deletion rates were so high that some hotel operators in New York City would ask guests if they needed a room for sleeping or jumping out of. That's real. In the US, 1 in 4 people became unemployed, and wages for the remaining workforce were basically cut in half. Bread lines and soup kitchens became a common sight, and many people lost their homes and savings. One farmer of the day knew he couldn't afford to feed his sheep, so he slit their throats and threw them down a canyon instead of letting them starve. It's like,
wow.
What? They don't like sheep? The events of 1929 set off a decade of economic hardship that culminated in Earth's favorite pastime, World War. Number 5, 1601. If you take one thing away from this video...
Is that the witch trials? When were the witch trials? I was just in Salem. No, that was 1692.
It should be that volcanoes are bad. So bad, in fact, that one volcano in Peru basically turned the lights off for the whole planet. The eruption of Huayna Patina in 1600 was one of the largest volcanic events in recorded history, spewing vast amounts of ash into the...
Bro, I want to see the volcano eruption that's that big that it blacks out the sun from the whole world. One volcano erupting that much.
Atmosphere. The summer of 1601 was known as the summer with no sunshine. Sunlight levels dramatically decreased everywhere in the world, causing mass famine, but nowhere more so than Russia. The lack of sunlight led to crop failures and livestock death. A third of the Russian population starving to death in the 2 years following the eruption. No sunshine also meant it was extremely cold, so to keep warm, many in the region turned to killing any animal with fur they could find, not just for food, but also to create clothing and blankets. Accounts from the time describe people so desperate for food that they ate grass, their pets, and each other. Which means all of us are just one cloudy summer away from cannibalism.
I'm not eating my dog. That's the one thing I'm saying right now. I would not eat my dog. If I was starving, bro.
Number 4, 1940.
I will. You'll eat my dog or you're going to eat your dog. Javi, I'm telling you right now, you ain't eating my dog. I'm eating you before I'm eating my dog.
42. Not much to see here, just worldwide violence and genocide resulting in millions of deaths. At the tail end of 1941, Japan made a monumental strategic error and, not so elegantly, insisted that the U.S. become heavily involved in World War
Wait, which one is this? Oh, 1942.
II. This essentially turned America into a death factory, where every able-bodied human was either making stuff that killed people or just killing people.
And this is when we really became a war-based economy. Ugh.
The war effort mobilized entire populations, leading to the development of new weapons and technologies, including the Manhattan Project, which would cause all kinds of problems for future humans. Meanwhile, soldiers and civilians in Russia...
And it was a like, the Manhattan Project was terrible, but, like, even if the Manhattan Project didn't happen, nuclear bombs would still exist, right? It was just who's the motherfucker to make it first. Like, nuclear bombs exist whether or not Oppenheimer makes it. Right. Like the Russians would have made the bomb. At some point, China would have made a bomb. Japan would have made a bomb. Somebody would have made a bomb.
Russia and China were dying by the thousands every day. The brutal fighting on the Eastern Front and the Pacific Theater claimed millions of lives.
Dude, I used to think that, I mean, it's kind of incomparable because it depends on the battle, but I used to think World War II, like battling in World War II would be like objectively worse than like trench warfare in World War I. But trench warfare is fucking so scary, bro. I had somebody describe to me what trench warfare was like truly like, and being alive in that time, dude, evil. Because there was almost no rules. So it was do whatever the fuck you want. There would be gas that would come over and you would just suffocate from that. But more so, like, if you're in the trench, there's bombs going off constantly. Doom, 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 doom. You're getting shell shock. That's why they called it shell shock. It was PTSD. But it was called shell shock because there was constantly bombs going off. Humans are only made to endure high-stress scenarios for short spans of time. Because in a 5-minute span, like say there's a lion or something that's approaching you, you're genetically made to deal with that stress in that 5-minute span, and either you're alive or dead, and then you move on. But in World War I, during trench warfare, that was just all the time. There was nonstop bombs. So you were always in that high-stress scenario, and if you were still alive, you were just waiting to die. And when the bomb stopped, you would go, oh, we're good now. When the bomb stopped, that meant the other people were running at you. So if you're awake for 18 hours, you're getting an hour of sleep, then you're awake for 18 hours. You're getting an hour of sleep, you're awake for 18 hours. and you hear silence, that means you have to run to your guns because the other guys are running to you to jump into your trench and kill you. And they're gassing you out. They're doing all this other shit. There would be guys, they would draft, say they had to get a letter from one trench to another or another part of the trench. They would give 4 guys the same letter and go, run. Because they knew that 2 of you at least weren't making it. So then if you were the one that made it and you didn't die, they'd give you another letter and they'd go, now run it back. And then you had to fucking try and run that shit back. And fuck that. Then it got to a point where they knew that the other guys were running over, so they would dig other trenches prematurely. And so when they heard the silence, they would run to the back trench before that one got flooded and then gun those motherfuckers down.
Germany continued its war crimes and genocide, so not great. Number 3, 1943.
It was also really bad in 1942, 1943, World War II in general. Like, one of the biggest things you'll hear people talking about is like, fighting the Japanese was really scary for Americans because even if they had the edge, the Japanese people wouldn't surrender. So if they ran out of ammo or knew they were going to die, they would just fucking run at your ass with a knife or a bayonet. Like, they would not give up. Like, they would just run at you. Vietnam was scarier too. Well, Vietnam, yeah, Vietnam also, I'm not sitting here saying like Americans were the victims. Americans did horrible things too during a large majority of these wars as well. Like Vietnam, especially, Americans would mow down like innocent Vietnamese people. But in Vietnam, yeah, dude, there would just be traps. It was all just like jungle warfare.
Remember 1942? Like that. But again, 1943 saw some of the deadliest battles of World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad.
Yeah, dude, Vietnam especially, what was that one thing they would say? Vietnam message to U.S. speakers. Like, it's like, you're gonna die, GI, or something, is what it would repeatedly say.
During the Vietnam War,
all right, that's not what I want to hear.
Operation involves
It is a very good idea.
Imagine being in the jungle, bro. You're freshly 19, right out of high school, bro. They send your ass all the way across the world, and you're literally watching your fucking friends explode. And you hear this in the jungles.
Defect, GI. It is a very good idea to leave a sinking ship.
And you're covered in dirt. Half your friends are dead.
They lie to you, GI. You know you cannot win this war.
And you're there for no reason, too. Like, World War II, like, you're fighting Adolf Hitler, right? World War II, I don't support war in any way, but, like, Americans in World War II wanted to go to war. People would lie about their age to get into the army. Vietnam was the reverse lottery, bro. They pulled your name. That was a death sentence. Like, being in Vietnam had to have been one of the scariest fucking things ever. Like, having to fight on either side. Like, and dude, you're not even fighting you're fighting against communism. Like, you're not even fighting for, like, oh, the betterment of, like, people being, like, the Jewish people or something. Like, you're literally just going into Vietnam because your government's sending you. You would come back, and there were instances where, like, the soldiers were treated like shit, man. They didn't even like, it wasn't like they praised you when they came back, like World War II. It was so different.
Your rich leaders grow richer while you die in the swamp, GI. They will give you a medal, GI, but only after you are dead.
Like, bro.
Your government lies to you every day, poor soldier.
Like, dude, it's middle of the night and you're hearing that shit. Reverse. The U.S. would play U.S. sounds for Vietnamese people. The Vietnam, what was the tapes the U.S. would play on those big-ass speakers to the Vietnamese guys in the tunnels? Yeah, they would spray shit with Agent Orange, and Agent Orange got people killed. There's a whole video on, like, pesticides and how Agent Orange, like, ruined people. Wandering Souls. Yep, there it is. The U.S. would play this for the people underground. Make you lose your mind so you'd run out of the tunnel and then they'd fucking shoot you in the face.
Stalingrad, one of the bloodiest battles.
People don't don't realize how. No, I'm serious. Like, you hear about, like, you learn about war, bro, at such, like, a basic level in high school. Like, that shit, bro, like, no, like, people go, oh, war's bad, you're killing people. It's beyond that, dude. It was psychological torture to have to fucking fight in any of these wars.
Battles in history ended in early 1943 with the defeat of the German army. This marked a turning point in the war, but came at a staggering cost of over 2 million casualties.
I always think, dude, being in D-Day, man, that had to be so fucking scary. Being a guy that was getting shipped on D-Day, World War II, you're on a boat, just running on Normandy Beach, watching hundreds of people get mowed down. Explain D-Day? Bro, how do you not, like, see, why do I have to explain? How do you not know? D-Day was when the U.S. were storming the Germans on Normandy Beach, and the Germans had these concrete structures that were hooked with, like, fucking, like, like big automatic machine guns. And they had all these spikes on the beaches, so you couldn't really drive up on them. You just had to drop the boat a little, like, far back, and they would jump off the boat into the water. D-Day boats. So they would be in these boats packed like sardines, and they would drive up to the beach. This hatch would open. They would all run out. All of them would die. Not just the U.S. I'm saying from the U.S.'s perspective. I know there was other countries involved. I'm saying U.S., Germany. Germany was the people that were defending. It's like Saving Private Ryan, yeah. And you would go Canada, France, Australia. Yeah, it was the Allies. It was the Allies versus the Axis powers, but I'm pretty sure the only people on the Axis powers were Germans. Was there Italians in D-Day? I don't know if they were on the lines in D-Day or on the defending side. No, I think it was just Germans up there. I don't know. I'm not a genius on D-Day. Anyway, somebody said this was boring. Fuck out of stream, bro. Who gives a fuck? Imagine, bro, the first waves of these boats of, like, you know, all the Allied powers, literally all of them died. All of them died. Like, instantly. And the U.S. and the Allies' strategy was, we're just going to keep sending people. At some point, it was just numbers. It was a numbers game. We have more people than they can kill. And then eventually they got through.
In the Pacific, the Battle of Guadalcanal and the continued island hopping campaign resulted in massive losses on both sides. And Nazi Germany continued doing Nazi Germany things. So again, a horrible time. Number 2, 1347. Welcome to medieval times. You really can't say anything about the mid-1300s that doesn't involve the bubonic plague. In 1347, the Black Death began ravishing most of Eurasia and parts of North Africa.
You hear about the Black Death, too. You just start getting black bubbles, growths on your body.
Within a few years, the plague killed roughly a third of Europe, which probably put a pretty big dent into the cappuccino and scarf industries. The plague was caused by a bacterium in the fleas of rats, and rats were basically the podcasts of the 1300s. Completely unwanted, but absolutely everyone had them. Death from the bubonic plague was swift, but painful. An infected person would develop horribly swollen lymph nodes, often accompanied by fever and diarrhea, and would usually be dead in under a week. Medicine of the time was primitive, to say the least. A popular cure for the plague included taking a healthy chicken, plucking its back and bottom clean, and then strapping it to the patient's open sores. The idea was if the chicken became ill, it was helping to pull out the disease from the patient.
Oh, bro, what? So they would try and move the illness from you to another creature?
Okay, let's check your chicken today. Oh, awesome, it's almost dead. You're doing great. This would be repeated until the patient or the chicken died. Often both in many cases. Chickens weren't the only...
What was the odds of living? If you had the Black Plague, what were your survival chances? Probably like 10%. No, I feel like it had to be higher than 0, chat. Come on. Survival chances were extremely low, up to an 80% mortality rate. So there were instances where people would survive. Survival depended heavily on the type of plague. Bubonic had an 18% survival rate, septicemic had a nearly 0, and pneumonic had a 0. The bubonic plague was the most common. You had about a 1 in 5 of living.
Only animal rubbed on boils. Plague doctors also tried rubbing cut-up pieces of snakes on them as well.
Awesome.
See, snakes were considered evil, and so was the plague. So the idea was that if evil things liked other evil things, putting the snake on a boil would trick the plague into following the snake and leave the patient's body.
Wow, so people were really fucking stupid at this time. That's absurd. Wow, that was like the best idea they had. Like, I would rather them go, let's pee on it. Like, I would rather them be like, yeah, you got a wound there. I'm going to pee on it. Then I'm going to rub an alive chicken's butthole on your fucking wounds. So it sucks the fucking the fucking sickness out.
Another cutting-edge cure for the Black Death was eating crushed emeralds. People who couldn't afford emeralds would drink arsenic or mercury instead, which probably was just a little less effective than the chicken and the snake. All the anguish from this pandemic began to pull society apart at the seams. Many people took the chaos of the situation as an opportunity to steal from the sick and weak. Needless to say, people were so...
From the sick and weak, bro. If you were one of the guys that lived, you were just straight rolling in it, bro. You just steal everybody's shit. Half the households ain't got anybody in them anymore. They're dead.
So scared to help one another, many were left to die alone in misery. It took centuries for Europe and other parts of the world to recover from the mass destruction of the Black Death. Number 1,
Yeah, I could easily see, dude. If you're in the UK, over half of London dies. Like, you're going to need 30, 40 years to just rebuild society.
36. This is essentially a greatest hits of all the worst moments from human history. Things kick off with our old friend the supervolcano, which sent a cloud of volcanic ash over the entire northern hemisphere. This left most of the world in virtual darkness for 18 months, brought the global temperature down 30 degrees, and caused, say it with me, widespread famine. Things were extra bad in China, where dust rained to the ground by the handful, and 70 to 80% of the population died. The lack of sunlight led to crop failures, starvation, and social unrest. But wait, there's more! On top of extreme...
Yeah, that's pretty scary, dude, living in, like, perma-darkness.
Food scarcity, a plague broke out in Europe. People would break out in pus-filled boils before perishing by the thousands, making disposal of the bodies impossible. Bodies were heaped in piles or thrown into the sea, only to wash back up days later. And the southern hemisphere wasn't spared. To make things worse, 536 had a powerful El Nino that warmed the waters off the South American coast, killing fish stocks, flooding the coasts, and you guessed it, causing widespread famine. So yeah, 536...
Oh my god, dude. People are literally just, like, constantly on the... I feel like societies pre, like, 1600s were just constantly on the brink of death, like, every 50 years. Like, oh my god. Heartbreak? Dude, if I hit a cart right now, that would be... bad. The worst punishments still used today. Is this like torture? What do they mean by punishments? Like for prisoners or people that they're trying to like extract information out of? The fuck is the wooden cane? The worst punishment used to Brazen Bull? I don't think they use that anymore. The worst punishment I don't think will be in this video, but I know exists is, I think it's in some South American countries, if you steal... it's not like government, but like locals will do it. I've seen videos of it, and it's fucking terrifying. If you like get caught stealing, you put both your hands like this, they just shoot you through your hands. So you'll see people with scars in like a bullet hole in their hand. That means they were a thief.
Let's start with the bad and slowly work our way towards the stuff of nightmares. Number 8, the wooden cane. Many
Pause. Yo, what is...
countries today still punish criminals by tying them up and whipping them. But just to make matters worse...
tying them up and whipping them? What countries still whip people?
It's often done in front of their peers and loved ones. In countries like Singapore, criminals convicted of...
they whip people in Singapore? I know you can get, like, put to death for having, like, a fairly low amount of drugs in Singapore. That's why that one time, did you ever see the video of Steve-O from Jackass? He swallowed a condom full of weed when he went into an airport, and he shit it out in Singapore, I think. And then smoked it. And I'm like, you could, like, die. Or not maybe get put to death for that little amount of weed, but, like, he could have been in prison for a long time.
Violent crimes or vandalism can...
yeah, how did that not, like, fuck up his insides?
Still be sentenced to judicial...
it's life in prison? I'm Googling this. What is the sentence for marijuana possession, Singapore? Up to 10 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. If you have a trafficking amount of 500 grams, it's a mandatory death penalty or life imprisonment with caning.
Caning here.
Oh my God, bro. Do they have like a guy whose job is to just cane people?
The criminal's bent over and has their ankles and wrists tightly strapped to a large wooden trestle. Before the criminal becomes a piñata, the cane is first soaked in water for a few hours, making it a lot more flexible and primed for whipping. The man who carries out the punishment is a highly trained officer, trained to deliver each strike with maximum force and precision. After each strike, there's a long pause, just to make sure the criminal feels every bit of pain that is humanly possible, before the next powerful strike is delivered. The severity of the crime dictates how many strikes the criminal receives, but it can be as many as 24. Criminals are
24 strikes? When you
typically
start
bleeding
like
with deep wounds.
I was gonna say you would start profusely bleeding.
But it can be as many as 24. Criminals are typically left bleeding with deep wounds and permanent scarring, leaving them with a life.
Yo, what else are they caning you for? You think you get caned for like loitering? What crimes result in caning in Singapore? Vandalization, robbery, property offenses, weapon and explosive offenses. So pretty heavy crimes. But do they cane you once and then you just get thrown in jail?
Lifelong reminder of the hellish punishment they once received. Number 7.
Robbery, I stuttered. Robbery. Oh my God, white room torture. Where do they do this?
Room. There's a room so terrifying that is
That's like actually one of the worst ways. It's not like one of the worst torture methods physically, but getting put in a white room, you go insane in like 3 days.
strikes fear into even the most hardened criminals. It's simply known as the White Room. Inside Evin Prison in Iran, there's a small, all-white isolation cell where the bright overhead lights never turn off. And all outside.
Really? Yeah, dude, Vsauce did a video where he got trapped in white room, or in a white room, like simulate white room torture for like 3 days. Immediately lost track of time because the lights are always on. You're in a white room. You don't interact with anything but white stuff, and your food generally is white as well. It's like sensory deprivation, but like to an extreme level that you start like hallucinating almost instantly. Like if you get thrown in a white room within a day, you're gonna fucking lose your mind. Not like to the point of, oh, you're permanently insane, but you're gonna, like if you were stuck in there for like 2 weeks, you're fucked.
Noise and human contact cease to exist. This punishment begins with the criminal being dressed in all white before being thrown into a completely soundproof all white cell. The bed, walls, floor.
Sorry, YouTube frogs, I'm hungover. How do you take my shirt off, dude? I'm like sweating, man. This is next level, dude. My body is radiating heat right now.
And even the plate and food they receive are all white. But it gets even worse. The guards outside the cell wear cushioned shoes to silence their steps, ensuring the prisoner never hears a single sound from the outside world. You see, the color white.
But what are they doing this for? Like, what crime would you have to have committed for them to throw you in a white room cell?
Wasn't chosen at random.
Like terrorism? Like murder? I feel like it's gotta be even like murderers just get thrown in jail usually.
White eliminates contrast, depth, and visual reference points. And since the brain doesn't get any stimulation from the outside world, it begins to create its own, tormenting the prisoner by spawning in vivid hallucination and noises that are not really there. And because the lights never turn off, prisoners lose their sense of time, not knowing whether it's been days, weeks, or even months that have gone by.
Yeah, it's usually like, if you watch it's a really good Vsauce video, by the way. You should definitely watch it if you haven't. But the problem is, you're stuck in this white room. There's no windows. You could say this about prison in general, but like because you have no contact, no clocks, nothing. You fall asleep, wake up. You could have been asleep an hour, 5 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. And so like instantly the second you go to bed, you've already lost track of time. So there was a moment where like he goes in, at a regular, clock time. Like he's going in at like, say noon. He's on a regular sleep schedule. By the end of it, he was only in there like 4 days. He was up at like 4 in the morning thinking it was like 3 in the afternoon. Like literally exact opposite schedules.
There have been reports of prisoners remaining in this cell for up to 8 months, with some claiming that even after leaving, they have never been the same since. Number 6, amputation. Amputations are still used in countries like Iran, Yemen, Nigeria, and Saudi Arabia, and are typically reserved for thieves. For example,
they'll cut off your hands? I knew about the shit with the bullet in South America where they'll shoot you. They cut off your fucking hands? Oh my God.
In Saudi Arabia, thieves can still be punished by amputation of the hand, while armed robbers receive a little extra, having their hand and the opposite foot amputated. Now, before you—
Damn. That sucks. Like, that's worse than, like, 5 years in prison. Like, they're just chopping off your body parts.
get the wrong idea, these countries
Do you still have to serve jail time, or do they just chop your hand off and then you walk?
do sometimes take it easy on criminals and just amputate the fingers instead.
That's not really doing much anyway. I mean, okay, now you got a palm, you got a nub. You know, you cut your fingers off. I mean, that's not really helpful. I mean, you still have a palm, I guess. Like, you could grab things. Like, if you had no fingers, you would still be able to, like, I guess, grasp stuff because you still have a wrist.
Which is exactly what is done in Iran. In 2025 alone, at least 3 thieves had the fingers on their right hands amputated. The punishment uses a guillotine-style
I'd be begging for them to chop off my left fingers, dude. Holy. What's your dominant hand? My left. My left.
machine, just a lot smaller. Here, prisoners are blindfolded, handcuffed, and restrained. The hand is tied in place with the fingers pointing out. As soon as the sign is given,
Actually, I don't know. Gaming-wise, would I rather lose my left hand or my right hand? Life-wise, losing my right hand would be worse because I'm right-handed. But, like, I got a WASD. You got to use a keyboard. Wait, do left-handed people... Wait, I've never actually thought about this. A keyboard's made for right-handed people. If you're left-handed, do you use the mouse with your left hand? No. I feel like all gamers still use... But that would be really weird, right? We don't. No, but that would be really weird, though. To have to control a mouse with my non-dominant hand. Like, I don't think I could do that. But I think even if you're left-handed, if you've grown up always using a mouse on your right hand, it's normal. Yeah, you're right, Zod. You're right. Because you're like 5 years old, first time you use a fucking computer, you're in computer class, you use a mouse on your right hand, so it's normal.
the lever is released.
That's true.
And the blade slams down on the person's hand, easily removing the criminal's fingers. They are then quickly stitched up if they're lucky, and sent back to their prison cells to walk it off.
Oh my God, so they still have to serve time. Castration?
5. Castration.
Medical castration or chemical castration or literally chopping people's nuts off? I can't imagine a dick with no balls. Can you imagine a dick with no ball? It would just be like a snake. It'd be like a shaft with nothing there. That would be really...
Countries like South Korea,
be really weird.
Poland, and Indonesia.
It'd be like a dildo. Dildos tend to have nuts.
Anyone who's convicted of being inappropriate with children
Look it up? I don't think I'm going to look that up.
can be sentenced to chemical castration. This punishment...
Okay, so they're not chopping your balls off. They're giving you something that makes it so... you can't reproduce.
It typically begins after the criminal has served their sentence and right before they are set to be released from prison, where they will receive the first of many injections to drastically lower their testosterone and libido. The more severe the crime, the longer the castration period. Now, being injected so often does carry some side effects, but realistically, nobody cares. But in countries like the Czech Republic, castration is taken even further. High-risk criminals who continue committing heinous crimes can be permanently castrated. From 2000 to 2016, over 84 surgical castrations were carried out. But in recent years, the numbers have plummeted. After heavy international pressure, the law was changed.
Well, if you don't have nuts, does your dick still get hard? No, right? Because you would have no, especially if you're chemically castrated. No, if you're chemically castrated, your testosterone's low. It would be erectile dysfunction. If you have no testosterone, you're not getting hard because you're not getting I gotta Google this. If you don't have balls, will your dick still get hard? Question mark. Yeah, it's possible, but it's a lot harder. While single testicle produces enough testosterone to maintain erectile function, removing both testicles significantly drops testosterone, often causing low sex drive and erectile dysfunction. Bang. So I was kind of half right. Furious Pete has one ball.
Today, they still perform permanent castrations.
I remember that. I remember I used to watch Furious Pete all the time, Higo. They had to cut off one of my balls. He had testicular cancer.
But are now only given to criminals who
A lot of people have one nut, though.
volunteer. Number 4. An eye for an eye. In Iran, the victim or their family can request an equivalent punishment for their attacker. This means they can request a life for a life, an injury for an injury, or in this case, an eye for an eye. The act of blinding someone as a form of punishment has been carried out a few times in recent years, with the most
Getting chemically castrated or having them take my eye out? Nah, I don't know.
recent 3 cases occurring in
I need to see. Well, they only take one eye.
2022. Surprisingly, many of the cases were very similar. A person, for one reason or another, decided to throw acid on someone, causing the innocent person to lose their eyesight. The victim or their family can then legally request the same punishment for the attacker. It all begins with the person being restrained and having their eye or eyes held open. Acid is then dropped into the eyes, permanently blinding them. The drops are administered by authorities, but the victim can request to do it themselves. Well, as long as they can still see. The injury is then verified by authorities, and the attacker is sent back to prison to serve the remainder of their sentence. Number 3. Pushed off a cliff. This is one of the most disturbing and strangest punishments in the world. In Iran, criminals can still be sent.
Is it okay? Why are all of these in Iran? Why is every single in every single one he goes in Iran? In Iran, they're doing that. Jesus Christ. I was gonna say this isn't even a punishment. This would just kill you.
Sentenced to be thrown from a height. Now,
Get thrown to your death. That's not a punishment. You're dead.
as bad as that sounds, it only gets worse. Here, the criminal is taken to the top of a cliff, then placed inside a sack. The sack is tightly sealed, and both the sack and the criminal are thrown off the cliff. But here's the twist. In the extremely unlikely event that the man survives the fall, he would then be freed from the sack, only to be hanged instead.
Wow.
A few men in recent years have been sentenced to.
I feel like you gotta let him slide. I liked that old medieval rule they had where if you were stuck to one of those wheels that you were gonna get like tortured to death on and it broke, it was like a sign of God and they let you go. You know? I feel like that's cool. Where it's like, you're going to be put to death, and then, like, you don't die, and they go, okay, never mind, you get to live. Like,
receive this punishment.
I'm not saying it's necessarily a sign of God, but I'm like, you know, if you get thrown in a potato sack off a cliff, and you live, and then they fucking hang you. Like, I mean, what a shit hand. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. I mean, obviously, I don't know what you did to be put in the sack. But either way, it's like, oh my God, thank fuck I lived. And you're dead anyway.
Punishment. 1 man in 2002 and 2 in 2008. The punishment is incredibly rare and is only given to those who commit truly heinous crimes. Even though these 3 men were sentenced by a judge to be thrown off a cliff, I can't 100% confirm they were actually thrown, since Iran ranks amongst the most heavily censored countries in the world, and this information is not easy to come by. Either way, the punishment is incredibly terrifying and not one you would ever want to receive. Number 2. Capital punishment. Now, I could bore you and walk you through all.
I mean, what, capital punishment? The one, oh my God, where do they do that? Is it in Japan? Somewhere in Asia, they'll still shoot you, but they'll shoot you in the back of the head and they'll make you open your mouth. So you can still have a regular funeral. Because if you close your mouth and they shoot you in the back of the head, your fucking face gets fucked up. But they'll make you open your mouth, they'll shoot you right here, the bullet goes through and you're dead. Why? So because if your mouth's closed, it's gonna burst through it's gonna fuck up your whole jaw, your teeth, everything. And then you can't have like a regular viewing funeral.
All the standard capital punishments that are used around the world, like lethal injection.
Probably in North Sentinel Island. North Sentinel Island doesn't have a government. They're a tribal island nation of people that have no contact with modern civilization. They don't have guns.
Firing squads, the electric chair, and hangings. But instead, I'm going to cover some of the most strange and terrifying variations of these executions that are still used in parts of the world. In Saudi Arabia, criminals who commit...
Dude, facing a firing squad is fucking brutal. Electric chair is definitely worse, but having to stand there and look at like a wall of people pointing guns at you and you're just like, all right, last words.
Murder or drug-related crimes can still be sentenced to be beheaded with a sword. Here, the criminal is kneeling on the floor with their arms tied behind their back. Their head is then leaned forward as the person trembles and waits for the executioner to strike. As soon as
there's still people that get beheaded
with the sword. Lean forward as the person trembles and waits for the executioner to strike. As soon as the signal is given, the executioner swings with all their might. and hopefully removes the head on the first go. Of course,
bro, the worst is when you learn about the guillotine and that when it wasn't sharp enough, they'd sometimes have to do multiple pulls. So they'd pull it, it would come down, whoosh, normally like the first 10 guys clean off, and then you're up and it's dull now. So it comes down and it half cuts your fucking head off. You're still alive. They got to do it again.
This is all done in front of a crowd, ensuring they get punished with
multiple pulls is the most entertaining though. Why are you watching guillotine executions for entertainment? I think that's part of the problem here. Why are you shirtless? I'm hungover and I'm really overheated. And when I was wearing the shirt, it was making me more nauseous.
severe PTSD as well. Then there's China.
I wish I could sit in like a cold bath right now. That would be, oh my God.
Where execution vans deliver lethal injections directly to a person's front door. On a right.
Jinxie wants to go to Diamond Gym, do a bath stream. I'm not doing a bath stream. Where is Diamond Gym?
Criminals are apprehended
in New Jersey
and placed inside the van. They are then quickly strapped down.
Yo, what up, Junko? Is Junko watching? I'm really hungover right now.
And given a lethal cocktail injection. It's estimated that around 8,000 people have been.
JC, would you rather lose one of your eyes or both of your balls? That's what we were talking about.
Wait, Joe, I'm gonna call you really quick.
Both of his balls. Oh, he's calling me. Hello?
So, Joe, you stay in Jersey, right?
Yeah.
So, Joe, have you heard of a place by the name of Diamond Gym?
Yeah, you want to go there?
Well, I was thinking about going, bro. Like, do you think you would want to, like, go with me?
Potentially. The only thing is, like, they're gonna fucking eat you alive there, man. You realize that, right? Like, even, like, like, guys that work out there that are, you know, influencers like Lex Little and like other people that are like actually like full on jacked get like so like it's brutal from what I've seen.
So, but is there a way I could fill out like a Google Doc and be like, hey guys, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm not. Guys, also
they are not listening to that shit, bro. You gotta fill out a Google Doc saying, oh, so can you guys go easy on me?
Okay. Well, Joe, look, I might go to this, bro. So
okay.
I'm just letting you know. If I die in there, Joe, I'd love you, Joe. And Joe, if you want to come with me, more than welcome.
Yeah, let me know when you're going. If I'm able to, I'll pop out.
Okay. All right, Joe. I'm not gonna die in there, Joe. Like, I'm an athlete.
Dude, look up. Yo, no, wait. You were just on that one video. Like, look up Diamond Gym on YouTube.
What do you want me to look up specifically?
Just like Diamond Gym.
Trends. Which one?
You can look up Diamond Gym. Will. Yeah, Will did a really good one. Tennyson. I know Lex Little. They didn't let him drink water for like 3 hours.
So there's no drinking water, no closing your eyes, no sitting down, and no stopping in the middle of a set.
Yeah.
Bro, I think I could make it through this. I really do. Bro, chat, is it possible to actually die of exhaustion? Like, legitimately?
Yes, you could die of exhaustion.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, maybe I just need water and maybe rest, but we'll see, bro. All right, Joe. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you're busy. But,
yeah.
I'll let you know, Joe. I will let you know, bro.
All right, let me know, bro. Have a good rest of your stream.
All right, you too.
W Jinxie, bro.
Joe, chat. Joe's shirtless with a chain on right now.
But is it?
Chat. Joe is shirtless with a chain on, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm slightly erect.
Been intimidating for people to come in here.
I'm training with like Hadi and those guys tonight.
So by the way, this guy looks gigantic. I mean, look at his
dude. All the guys at Diamond Gym are huge. I feel like I would just get pissed off, bro. Working out there, somebody screaming at you the whole time. I'd be like, bro, shut up. All right, walk back in.
Executed in one of these vans, but the real number remains a mystery since the program is covered in secrecy. Then there's hanging executions. Some countries still use the more humane method, the long drop, which instantly breaks the neck and causes unconsciousness. This method obviously requires a math formula to get right. Too short of a fall, the neck remains intact, and the person hangs there and slowly chokes. Too long of a fall, and it becomes a beheading, and a very messy.
Why is that Oh, yeah, because it's messy. I was gonna say, why does that matter? They're dead either way.
And annoying cleanup. But in countries like Iran, the math problem is simply tossed in the trash. And instead, they use a method called the short drop, which is a lot more
short drop and you choke to death.
More cruel and vicious. But hey, at least no one could ever say they're bad at math. Here, the criminal is rigged to a crane with their arms tied behind their back and is then slowly lifted a few inches off the floor. As the criminal panics and kicks, the rope tightens, and eventually, within minutes, the person passes out and stops moving. Number 1, stone.
Oh my god, no, stoning's the worst. Stoning's the worst. Bro, I've been saying though, how long are you alive for a stoning? You know? I think if you're getting stoned to death and you're buried on the ground, you're really hoping you just got Shohei Ohtani in the crowd there. You know? I'm hoping some dude throws a piss missile with a fucking rock and just instant kills me. Like, if you're getting stoned to death and it's a bunch of like weak people, or they're inaccurate, you're just getting hit with rocks for fucking 20 minutes.
To death. Easily
before
the
you die.
harshest and most cruel punishment in the world has to be stoning. This punishment has occurred in Nigeria, Somalia, and Iran in recent years.
Oh my god, bro.
With Iran being the
my god.
only country where stoning still exists in law as a punishment
Oh my god. No, like, this is actually fucking unreal.
for adultery. The most recent uses of this punishment actually came from angry mobs in Nigeria.
Wait, for adultery, that's when you cheat, right? You get stoned to death for cheating. Like, I'm not saying cheating's, you know, there shouldn't be any, I'm not saying you should be like, oh, let off free for that, but like, stoned to death?
In 2020 and 2022, and before that, a militia group in Somalia in 2014 and 2018. I'll quickly cover these before I move on to Iran.
It's only for women. Oh my god.
In both cases in Somalia, a judge within the area's militia group sentenced the women to be stoned to death for adultery. The women were buried up to their shoulders, with only their heads exposed, and then stoned to death by the militia group. All of this was done in front of the townspeople. The Nigeria incidents were very similar to one another as well.
Yo, that's actually like, that's like inhumane. Like, that is unfucking real. Like, I'm a lot of these, it's like, oh yeah, they chop off your hands or some shit when you fucking, you know, do aggravated robbery or kill someone. And I'm like, okay, you know, a bit extreme, but I kind of get why you want to punish the person. But it's like, holy fuck, you cheat on your husband and now we're going to line you up in the town square and stone you to death? It's in the Bible? Buddy, I'm not caring about that. I don't see a world where you could argue about how stoning is moral. Like, there's no way that I'm sitting there going, that's chill.
In 2020, a man accused of blasphemy was chased and stoned to death at a fish and vegetable market. But wait, it gets even darker. It's reported that even the local children picked up stones and took part in the execution. Then a few years later, in 2022, a woman was attacked by a mob and stoned to death at a college for the same reason. But let's talk about Iran, since they officially have stoning as a form of punishment. From 1980 to 2009, there were roughly 150 people, mostly women, convicted of adultery who were condemned to stoning, with the latest sentences taking place in 2017 and 2022. The punishment begins with the woman being buried up to her chest, or the waist if it's a man. Officials then gather around the person with stones in hand, and as soon as the signal is given,
why waste if it's a man? It's a quicker death if only your head is out. Because if they're hitting you, like, if you're getting stoned and you're hitting me in the fucking ribs, you know, I want to be here up, because then you just get a headshot, I'm dead. Right, or I pass out.
Begin to throw them. But here's the catch. If the person manages to escape from the hole, and only if they had confessed to adultery, they could earn their freedom.
What? So if you confess to adultery, you get put in the hole and you get out before you die, you're free?
In the second scenario, if the person manages to escape but were caught committing adultery, they are placed back in the hole for round 2. As someone who's extremely competitive, yeah, I'm beginning to think this might be a little unfair for the women.
But that's unfucking real. That was a crazy video. As soon as he mentioned Iran, I ran to the comments. Weirdly Iran-centered. Yeah, these punishments are good enough to keep these people traumatized. Bro, half of them cause death. Being released from such a place like White Room, mental damage was done to you, then seeing the outside world again? Yeah, it'd be fucking shock. Actual shock. almost texted the company because I was like, dude, what the fuck would it respond with? It was a different code every. Yeah, dopamine maxing, and it's like, dude, it's like toddler shit, man.
Mr. Beast sponsorships represent
dime.
So these are not your typical coupon codes. Behind them, you have an influencer that's trying to earn a living, you have a business paying to promote their product, and there's usually a contract binding the two together.
And I'm not dissing Mr. Beast. It's like, it's what's needed to capture the most viewers because it works for kids.
Regardless.
Dude, I couldn't get over it too, man. It was just, and she'll like it too. Just say it. Adults, middle-aged people, it works for anybody, bro. Like, people just watch Mr. Beast. Like, I'll watch Mr. Beast videos, but it's just, like, it's more and more geared for, like, short attention span.
Honey will step in, leak the codes to users, disrupting them, and over one...
And that garners, like, kids. Like, that's, like, where you're gonna get, like, 9-year-olds.
1/3 of Honey's total sponsored views on YouTube. But it wasn't just Mr. Beast. Honey sponsored business relationship. The result? Not only do brands end up losing money from the leaked discounts, on top of that, they're now forced to pay undeserved commissions to the influencers whose codes got leaked. It's easy to imagine how quickly something like this could spiral out of control. In fact, one business owner on Twitter reported losing $100,000 from this exact issue. Any channels whose content was, in my opinion, clearly targeted at minors, and he only realized it happening several months later. It's no laughing matter. And if you think this is a huge win for influencers because they get paid a bunch of undeserved commissions, well, think again. They sponsored Minecraft channels, Roblox channels, cartoon channels. I mean, just watch this video and tell me it's not targeted at children.
I mean, we basically pulled all out of the podcast realm because there was really no way to figure out how to attribute any successes or failures.
This video is sponsored by Honey.
If Honey wanted to target minors,
we basically can't do that anymore because as soon as a code becomes used by one person, it suddenly...
What the fuck was that, bro? That seemed like that was for like 5-year-olds. What, are you gonna get a toddler to go fucking install Honey on your parents' computer?
Used by everybody.
Badly, they should have just sponsored one. Oh,
that was like literally like some Cocomelon. I feel like I was watching like a fucking PBS, like just a regular ass, like Sesame Street was on. That was an ad.
This is a nightmare situation for everyone involved. But admit it, that's exactly what they did. This, ladies and gentlemen, not all businesses are affected equally. Honey's actions are especially devastating for small businesses that lack the resources of larger brands. Is Desiree Machado, who at the time was just 14 years old.
Guys, I'm only 14.
The big retailers can push back. They have dedicated marketing teams, advanced analytic tools. Hilariously, one of her videos that Honey sponsored is appropriately titled Back to School. Honey even ran her sponsored segment as a paid advert on YouTube, and the legal muscle to respond. Smaller businesses, on the other hand, don't have that luxury. Now, speaking of paid adverts, let's quickly circle back to that Mr. Beast ad, because of all the evidence, this has got to be so when a multi-billion-dollar company like PayPal piles on more obstacles, be the single worst example of Honey intentionally targeting minors. Let me play it again. It's not just frustrating, it's downright predatory.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and install.
In fact, Made in Cookware CEO Chip perfectly summed up the devastating impact Honey's actions can have on a small business.
When you're in the early stages of building a business, you're in the stage of, will this company even work?
And hit it with a hammer because you need the Lenovo gaming laptop powered by an Intel Core CPU. When
work, is there product market fit? How do I scale this thing? Can the economics work, right? And so all the things we talked about, these
you get that laptop, you're gonna go to the browser search, Google Chrome, and you're gonna
discount codes and the kind of removal of attribution and killing margin, like those really affect the early stages.
Honey.
They are literally encouraging kids to install a browser extension that tracks and collects data
of a company, from everything from where do I put the next dollar in to make sure I can survive, down to you're taking 10, 15, 20% of my sales without me wanting it.
Onto every computer in their household, including those belonging to their siblings. That is fucking insane.
And we have digital marketing costs, we have shipping costs, we have all these stacks of costs that not only are getting more inflated over time, like FedEx has been raising their rates over time, warehousing.
And the emojis? I mean, come on. And look, this is not...
Well, and being a small business is really hard because you already have to try and have competitive pricing to match other big retailers. And then when Honey's already slashing those codes...
a good look for Mr. Beast either. Influencers have a duty of care to ensure that any advertising they engage...
that you're still, you know, in a profitable margin, but those codes are kind of making you really, like, tread the line there on, like, red and green in terms of profitability. Like, it fucks you. Like, that's why you don't really see small businesses anymore outside of, like, rural air, like, really rural, that's hard. Really rural areas. Like when you're in the middle of nowhere, there's always like a local coffee shop.
Agent is compliant with relevant advertising laws, especially when your audience skews young.
And all this other shit. Or if you're in big cities, there's a mixture, but kind of like that in between town where you like, you're that kid that hangs out at Walmart on Fridays. Like you never really fucking see small.
Of course, I did reach out to Mr. Beast and his team for comment, but never heard back from them. Now, in case
businesses anymore, because those big companies that come in just steamroll everybody else. And now, like, that's... Yeah, I think it depends. Like, in Mr. Beast's case, it was clearly targeting children. I think for people like Ludwig, like, he was just doing the ad, and it wasn't... Like, Honey gave Mr. Beast that prompt, being like, we want to get hurting even more companies, especially in the online business, where you're trying to fucking compete with Amazon, and you're just getting fucked. Kids to use Honey. Whereas, like, the average, like, Linus Tech Tips video, bro, it's just like, all right, just shout out Honey.
Costs have gone up, COGS have gone up, as you know, through inflation for the last 4 or 5 years, right? Like, all the costs.
You're still not convinced that this was intentional because, I don't know, perhaps Honey had a rogue marketing team that was poorly aligned with upper management. Well, here's a few words from...
Structures have been going up, and to have someone just stealing...
From Honey's former president, Joanne Bradford, talking about the benefits of working with Mr. Beast.
We launched it with gamers playing YouTube on their desktop, and a little gamer...
Compressing the actual revenue you want, like, puts small businesses in a real squeeze. It's just really disappointing. And
called Mr. Beast. So we were his first
advertiser,
and we did a deal with him. His collective ads, I think, have been seen, you know, I'm gonna say billions,
Yeah.
3+
like, it doesn't even work, because at the end of the day, like, you need to make the numbers work. And if Honey is
close to 4 billion times, every kid in America knows what Honey is. Every kid in America was telling their moms and their dads they needed to download, you know, Honey in order to save money.
going to steal 10% of your revenue all the time, you're going to have to raise prices at the end of the day to make up for that, right? And so it's not only not effective, but it makes it worse for the consumer. It compresses for the small business owner any margin. And then
They weren't just telling their mums and dads to install Honey, they were installing it themselves.
So it's just like a really awful business model. Like, we've been so mad at them for so long.
My 5-year-old brother installed Honey on his computer? Really sad. And Chip's point about the impact to consumers is especially important. If Honey's eroding profit margins from retailers and...
Bro, that's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Kids started saving money earlier and earlier these days. Bro, how did...
They're forced to increase prices, well, that ultimately affects consumers.
They even explained to a 5-year-old how to install a browser extension.
Now, as you'd expect, these businesses don't just let these issues slide. Naturally, they reach out to Honey to complain, asking to be... Wow, kids start...
I feel like I would not be able to do that.
Saving money earlier and earlier these days. And here's Honey's co-founder, Ryan Hudson, discussing how Honey leveraged the credibility that influencers have with their audience be removed from the platform. And that, unfortunately, is where the story takes a much darker turns.
We learned how to work with influencers, in particular on YouTube, to...
You see, Honey is well aware of the inconvenience it
lean into the credibility that they have with their audiences, the ability to speak the language of their audience, and it's been incredible for us. And so we've done, if you watch YouTube or you have kids that watch YouTube,
creates for these online stores. So when they inevitably reach out to Honey,
they have seen, if you watch Mr. Beast,
it's a lot of honey.
A lot of honey.
Asking to be removed. Does Honey oblige? Of course not. And this was no accident. Honey's leadership knew what they were doing, and they knew it worked well. That Mr. Beast ad alone. Instead, Honey goes, how about this? We'll give you full control over which coupons go live on our platform, has 118 million paid ad views, but only if you partner with us. I kid you not. The highest of any honey ad
What?
on YouTube, which strongly
Yo, that's like some Monopoly Man shit. Like, that's like, yo, that's actually crazy.
suggests it was also their best performer. Honey likely invested millions into this ad alone. Honestly, it's genuinely shocking they've gotten away with it for so long.
Like, yo, we're not gonna take your shit off, but we will let you put codes, but you have to give us a cut.
In fact, Chip was kind enough to share his email exchanges with Honey from 2020, and you need to see it because now, given everything we've uncovered so far, you might be wondering how on earth there could be more to this investigation. Well, while Honey was the first extension of its kind, unfortunately, they certainly weren't. Holy shit, it's bad. Now, it is a long email chain, so I'm not going to read the entire thing, but
Surfshark?
You're welcome to pause to read the bits I skim over. Hi, I am the CEO of Made in Cookware. Please remove us from your app. You've scraped a private friends and family code from our checkout and put it now hundreds of coupon and cashback extensions on the platform for others to use. We've lost a bunch of revenue. 4 days later, Honey responds with, "Hi Chip, thanks for reaching out. Honey supports over 40,000 stores online, and while I haven't investigated all of them to the same extent that I have with Honey, many of them engage and prioritize protecting the Honey experience for users by supporting available stores and displaying available codes. We can absolutely similar behavior, especially when it comes to poaching affiliate commissions. Absolutely remove the code in question. In order to protect the Honey experience for our users, we typically do not remove codes unless we have a working relationship. And that's why there are now multiple class action lawsuits I mean, right off the bat, they're basically saying, we won't compromise the experience for our users unless you're getting these other companies. Influencers haven't just been
did that one say Klarna? But what does the working relationship entail?
Pay us. Classy. We'd love to discuss how we can work more closely and partner with your brand. Chip replies the same day, we don't offer affiliate deals to coupon sites. We'd like to be removed from your site and extension completely. Losing money to one sleazy salesman at checkout, they've been losing money to an army of them. With the sales pitch not going to plan, Honey brings in their global partnerships manager, Kelly Rodick, who explains to Chip that,
"Hi Chip, jumping in here." Oh my god, bro, the fucking email formality bullshit.
In fact, I've encountered so much shady behavior with these extensions that I felt it was necessary to create my own browser.
Nice to meet you. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Extension to alert me anytime an affiliate cookie is loaded onto my browser.
Just talk to me like I'm a regular person, bro. What?
It's called Cookie Guard, and it's especially helpful because...
Hi, Chip. Jumping in here. Name's Kelly, and I work on the partnerships team here at Honey. I know this must be a headache, and I'm happy...
Because some of these extensions will load their affiliate link in ways that...
What is this fucking cookie cutter ass response, bro? And yo, that's actually pretty fucking fire.
Completely invisible to the user. For example, if you click to copy a coupon on Honey, it looks like a harmless...
It's like, that's why people hate customer service representatives, because they're literally reading a fucking slot and
feature because you don't see that sneaky tab opening in the corner
in front of them on like what to say in response to you. Holy shit.
But with Cookie Guard installed, you can see that behind the scenes, they are quietly stuffing their cookie through what's known as a hidden iframe. His leak code was added through Honey's user-generated coupon functionality. No surprises there. She completely ignores his request to be removed from the platform, only offering to remove the leaked employee discount. You can Google it. Even worse, I found that the extension Karma Now would stuff their cookie the moment you landed on a checkout page. Complete. Chip replies the same day, our friends and family code was listed on your site. That was an internal code meant for a small group of people that was never published anywhere. Our whole site can't be removed from your app. Really automated, no interaction with their extension required. Honey only responds a week later, confirming they removed the employee discount, but again, completely ignores Chip's request to be... They also had a system that could detect when you used a compare removed from Honey. Chip responds immediately, pushing for an answer, but they ignore his email completely. It is extension, like Honey, and they would wait for that extension's affiliate link to load. A month later, and Honey leaks another private discount code.
Damn, dude. Cookies, I remember I never even understood what cookies were when I was a kid. I would just accept all that shit. I feel like even most adults...
Hi, please remove from your app. That is a private code behind a private employee perk login.
Do that, man. Now I'll go through the pain of looking like additional
This should never be public. I don't understand how you feel taking
extra and then unclick everything and hit save.
A private employee perk and making that public to the world is helping our business. Then immediately
So they don't track shit.
override it
Yo, Kelly Rodak is just dealing with pissed motherfucker.
with their own. Again, no interaction.
All right, I think the rest of this is an ad. Well, or not an ad. He's not getting paid.
Code, but instead of taking responsibility, they try shifting the blame onto Chip.
But it's about the cookies, which is a fucking sick ass thing. Cookie guard. I might install that. Gmouse and not for the sub. W fucking video though. All right.
Suggesting his employees might be responsible for
Is it possible that a made-in cookware employee is a Honey user?
sharing the code with Honey.
Chat, we're calling that there. W fucking stream.
But given what we know about their system, I'm willing to bet Honey were responsible for the leak.
Bro, it's like that fake ass. It's like being fake nice. Like, I hate that. I'd rather somebody be a dickhead than like fake being nice.
Not Chip's employees. Honey then suggests that Chip creates single-use codes for each and every employee, essentially making it his responsibility to fix a problem they created in the first place. I would be fuming if this were my business. 2 months later, and another private code gets leaked. And once again, Chip asks to be completely removed from the platform. And this time, Honey finally addresses the question. We proudly host a...
Yo, lock in, bro. Stop asking me what's my go-to Wawa order, Bryce. A panini. Oven turkey, pepper jack cheese. If I could get mac on it, I would. Garlic sauce as well is amazing. Then I'm probably going to go... Fuck, man. What else? I mean, it really depends. You know, the drink's up for grabs. It could be a Propel. I could be getting like a vitamin water. I maybe not even get a drink, you know, or like a sugar-free.
Consistent shopping experience for all Honey shoppers who rely on our shopping tools. Therefore, we cannot disable Honey for individual stores and never have.
Would you ever do an ad for Cash App? Brother, why are you asking? I've done 10 ads for Cash App. Lock it!
Never have, huh? Well, that's interesting, because it just so happens that Andrew from TrueGrit Texture Supply also shared his email exchange with Honey. And would you believe it? He was dealing with the exact same Honey employee as Chip.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry that you had an upset experience with our platform, Honey. I'm here to make sure that you love our product and that we can show that we love you. I'm sorry that we leaked your 90% off code that's only for disabled veterans. We're not going to remove it. What we could do is partner with you, and then we'll remove it. We're going to be taking 10% of your annual revenue. Does that sound like a good deal? Best, Kelly.
And while Honey attempted the same sales pitch with Andrew,
we understand merchants may have coupon codes that are exclusive to a certain audience and are happy to work with you to create a solution that is mutually beneficial for both you and Honey users.
They did eventually remove his store from the platform. So yes, it is possible, and yes, they have done it before. Once again, we've caught Honey in yet another calculated and deliberate lie. And make no mistake, it was deliberate because this employee, Kelly, confirmed the removal of Andrew's store just 1 month before assuring Chip that Honey had never removed a store before. Honey clearly has the capability to remove stores, they just choose to enforce that decision selectively. Keep in mind, Honey knows exactly how many of their users are visiting a given store and how much they are spending. So exactly how many
Epic Games? What the fuck is, there's Honey codes on Epic Games? What are you getting, fucking percent off on V-Bucks?
many of their users are visiting a given store and how much they are spending. So I'd speculate that this selective enforcement comes entirely down to which stores Honey believes will make them the most money. Now for the record, I didn't even get through that entire email chain between Chip and Honey. It goes on and on. And this behavior is not an isolated incident. It's a pattern.
When merchants discover their codes have leaked and then they want to clamp down on that, they go to these coupon extensions and plea and request to have their codes removed. And 9 times out of 10, the response is join our affiliate program and you'll have more granular control over that. And so I think merchants tend to feel a little bit as though they're being blackmailed or extorted, you know, because you join the affiliate program and then you have to pay that coupon extension company every time somebody uses a code. And you're doing that in order to have them not share your codes.
I mean, this has got to be one of the most f***ed up business models I have ever seen. And let's be real about what's going on here. In my opinion, it's economic extortion. Just think about it. Imagine one day deciding to start your own business. You've saved up all this money and invested it all into this one big idea. You're taking on a huge risk. And as you navigate the daily struggles of running a business, a bad actor sneaks into your store without you ever noticing. They quietly start collecting coupons from your customers and start handing them out at your checkout counter. Then one day, you notice a customer with a voucher that was clearly never intended for them, and you have absolutely no idea how they got it. But when you eventually catch the culprit and demand that they leave your store, they refuse, and there's nothing you can do about it. Knowing this, the bad actor leverages the harm they manufactured by strong-arming you into signing a partnership deal, where the only way to stop the damage they created is by paying them. Honey's business model starts to make a lot more sense now, doesn't it? It makes sense why they dragged 100.
I remember when he was in high school, because I was in high school. I was like a freshman when he was like a senior. And he was like the fucking news. Everybody was like, this kid's gone pro. Like in a high school game, he would just fucking hit a spin dunk on people like it was nothing.
They had it ever come out of Japan.
Yeah, fucking windmill that shit. Literally in a finals game, these just fucking, 80 to fucking 10.
And
the Yankees, Red Sox, Rangers, and Dodgers wanted Ohtani to skip the NPB entirely and sign directly with them as a pitcher. Ohtani wanted that too. In 2012, he warned NPB teams not to draft him, but the Nippon Ham Fighters did anyway. It put Ohtani in a unique position. He could refuse to play for the Fighters, or use his leverage to pressure them into letting him do something no American team ever would. Two-way players are a thing of the past. That's someone who's both a pitcher and a position player, like Babe Ruth. But since the 1940s, no one in the major leagues really pulled it off, and today, no one's really allowed to try.
Being a pitcher and a batter is like playing two completely different sports. They require two completely different skill sets, two completely different approaches, and that wear and tear really, really adds up. A major league team, if they had gotten Ohtani at 18 years old, would have just forced him to become a pitcher.
But the Fighters were more willing to let him try both. So Ohtani made the
wow, so if he got signed when he was younger, he never would have been able to bat?
Decision to stay in Japan.
If Ohtani had grown up in Arkansas, he doesn't become the player that he is. He was this massive power hitter. There's a video of him hitting a baseball into the roof of the Tokyo Dome. And the fact that he was also doing it while being one of the...
Does that count as a fucking... Does that count as like out of play or something? If you hit the fucking ceiling in a stadium, so it's still in play. If falls down, they could catch it and it's out.
Best pitchers in NPB was kind of blowing everyone's mind.
But after 5 years in Japan, Ohtani still faced doubts in the U.S. So in 2017, when the Fighters posted him, Ohtani turned down bids from big market teams and instead went to the LA Angels, where he again used his leverage to be a two-way player. In his first at-bat in LA, Ohtani did this.
That's out toward right center field.
Dude, first at-bat, another team, nuke it. Bang! Just fucking rips it out. Stop. You know right there and then, too, the dude that was, like, responsible for getting him signed was just like, yes. Yes.
Big fly!
Just fucking so happy.
In 2021, he hit 46 home runs and went 9-2 on the mound, becoming the first player to be an all-star as a hitter and a pitcher. Ohtani was fast.
Oh my God, how much do you think that ball's worth? I feel like that's got to be on the market. Oh my God, Shohei Ohtani's first home run ball price. It's worth at least $100,000. Oh, Shohei Ohtani's first run ball as a Dodger is worth $100,000. It could be worth up to $3 million. First run ball price as Angel just says over $100K. Dude, I feel like there's somebody that would pay like $1 million for that.
becoming the most exciting player baseball had seen in decades. And by 2024, he didn't need leverage anymore. The LA Dodgers signed him for $700 million, nearly double the next highest contract, because he really was two players in one. Actually, he was the two best players in one. Wins above replacement measures a player's total value, and in the last 5 years, Ohtani has the highest in the majors. And just last week, Ohtani played probably the greatest game in baseball history. He struck out 10 batters and gave up only 2 hits over 6 innings. And
I'm not a baseball expert, but in the beginning, somebody was like recency bias. And I will say, yeah, like recency bias is true of a lot of things. But like people will still be like, well, Babe Ruth. I'm like, well, Babe Ruth was like a 50-year-old fucking chronic cigarette smoker that played in like what, the fucking 1920s or some shit. Expert. When did Babe Ruth play? Like, it's the same premise. Dude, yeah, he was born in 1895. Like, it's the idea of, like, yeah, you're comparing apples to oranges of, like, dude, the game's entirely different now. Ohtani is undeniably the best player of all time. That's what I would even say in, like, basketball, people still argue about that. About, like, MJ. And I feel like that's an easier argument to have where you're, like, trying to compare, like, MJ to LeBron or something. But some people, where it's like, dude, there's so many, I don't want to say unks, but there's people that, like, hardcore defend, like, old, like, MVP players. But I'm like, dude, they were also good in a time where everybody else was ass. Or much worse.
And hit not 1, not 2, but 3 home runs to send the Dodgers to the World Series. Ohtani's a new kind of baseball player, mixing
Barry Bonds. Wasn't Barry Bonds also on a drastic amount of steroids?
American style.
Or am I wrong? I'm not a baseball expert. Wasn't Barry Bonds like fucking juiced to the gills? Like at that point you could be like, yeah, okay, Barry Bonds, let's put Shohei Ohtani on steroids and he would be fucking insane. Like he would be even more good, even crazier.
Power and Japanese style consistency on both sides of the ball. But he only got the chance to do it because he started playing baseball in Japan.
Shohei Ohtani is America's
So do you think that Shohei Ohtani is going to change how the MLB recruits and places players, even not in Japan? Like, do you think the training regimen that like high school and college football team, or not football, baseball teams are going to do is like they're more open to two-way players?
Packed, reimagined, and then repackaged back to itself.
Yeah, they're going to want the next two-way player because that carries the teams.
Now Ohtani's bringing the two best baseball leagues closer together than ever.
Impossible.
Imagine getting force walked 10 times the World Series because other teams know you'll beat them single-handedly. Yeah, no, didn't they just, they would just keep purposefully walking him. Like, I didn't watch any of the World Series, but I did hear that he was able to pitch, but they wanted to cut out his capability of play. So they would just walk him, give him a base, which is much better than them potentially giving up a home run.
Theater. And in a one-run game, the dream matchup.
Now, why was this moment so important? It's because it was the first moment.
I understand that's like a needed part of the game and it is a strategy, but isn't that a little lame, like that you're able to just walk players? I mean, in the same sense, it's like kneeling the ball in football. If like you're up and there's, you know, a minute left on the clock, you could just run the timer down. Like, I feel like every sport has some lame ass, you know, loophole where you could just fucking nerf people.
That Japanese baseball and American baseball shared a superstar.
You're giving them a base? Yeah, but you're giving them a base because you know that if you don't, they're going to fuck on you. like, if you don't give them the base, they're just going to maul you.
In the US, it was the most watched WBC game ever. But in Japan, 42% of households tuned in. Even though
42%? Oh my God, dude. That's the equivalent of like the Super Bowl for the US. What percentage of households watch the Super Bowl? 41 to 43%. It's bigger. In Japan, this was larger than the Super Bowl or just about the same.
It was 8 in the morning there. In 2025, MLB saw higher viewership across US TV and a 20% increase on Japanese TV, making it the most watched season ever there. Ohtani's also getting more Japanese fans to come to Major League games,
which is making American companies more money, so they're going to fucking start signing people like crazy.
I asked June to come on this episode. He texted back from Dodger Stadium, where he saw scores of Ohtani fans, Ohtani jerseys in English and Japanese, Japanese beer, and a giant homage to Ohtani on a Japanese-themed hotel. This is just the beginning for MLB.
I had a conversation.
Oh my God, do you think Shohei Ohtani's on like everything in Japan? I would love to see that. Like the equivalent of how we have like Patrick Mahomes and other like quarterbacks just on so many adverts. Oh, he's got to be on like every product there. He's got to be the most known athlete in Japan.
An executive over Major League Baseball, and they said that Shohei Ohtani was their entire international growth strategy. They view Shohei Ohtani as their Messi and Ronaldo figure, the type of person who almost becomes bigger than the sport to get people in the door, to care and invest emotionally in it.
Ohtani may even give MLB an edge over its competitors. U.S. sports leagues are racing to become global leagues. The NFL is playing games in Europe and South America. The NBA is in Asia.
I think the NFL has, just as from my biased perspective, I think the NFL has a lot of weird rules that make it harder to get into, but the premise, NFL is the toughest road, but I think it has the highest potential because people like watching other people tackle the fuck out of each other. Like, it's like, the NFL, dude, even if you don't know, if you know none of the sports, you just love watching. Like, watching football is fun.
Sure.
You got rugby, though? Yeah, but, like, rugby as a competitor. I feel like the NBA is the most global, if I had to guess, out of the three big sports.
Hosting a league in Africa and talking about creating a league in Europe. They're competing to win over new fans in other countries. But nothing wins over fans in another country like a superstar from that country.
The lesson from Ohtani is that sometimes...
I think that's why the NBA is big, too. That's the problem with the NFL. If the NFL starts signing fucking random-ass European and fucking Asian and African players to the league, dude, oh my God, I feel like that'll start. Like, if you just had, like, some guy from fucking Germany as, like, an O-lineman, I feel like people would be like, I need to watch this. Like, if he's, like, the best, but they would have to be really good.
That means letting a player do something different.
Because Ohtani is an Ohtani if he's not a two-way player. And he's not a two-way player if he doesn't play first in Japan. And he doesn't play first in Japan if not for generations of players who perfected baseball the Japanese way.
America invented baseball, but it has been elevated by someone who is not from the United States. He breaks all of the unwritten rules of what people thought was possible for someone to accomplish as a baseball player.
Wow.
Okay, thanks so much for watching.
I loved that video, and I'm not even that big of a fan of baseball, but I love keeping track of, like, the news in sports. Cinema. Kill as many cartel members and as many cartel leaders and as many, drug gang distributor leaders as you can. They'll be replaced. If there's a market, or if there's a consumer, there's going to be a supplier, okay? To get rid of people taking drugs in the United States, you have to stop the level of consumers that there are. If less people want to take the drugs, less people will try to offer it to them. If there's not a market, there's not going to be a marketer. If you kill the head of a cartel and you go, we've just solved the cocaine problem. No, the fuck you haven't, because people still want to do coke in the United States. People still want to take fentanyl in the United States. There's going to be another guy that's going to fucking supply it.
Nations adopts the Convention on Psychotropic Substances. Many countries outlaw psychedelic substances and sharply restrict their use, including DMT. From that point on, only a handful of approved scientific institutions are allowed to continue their research on them, and even they have to adhere to extremely strict regulations. For decades, DMT research effectively grinds to a halt.
The whole class of compounds got pulled off the clinical bench, and no research has gone on for 40 years.
One of the tragedies to me is that the clinical research on these substances pretty much stopped around 1970.
Dr. Rick Strassman is a psychiatrist. He's set on bringing psychedelic research back to life. His study is the first attempt to observe the effects of psychedelic substances in humans in the US in over 20 years. He wants to know what DMT does to our mind and body. The participants are numbered. Sarah is subject 34, She's in her early 40s and lives with her second husband. She has 3 children and works as a freelance writer.
You think they know what they're getting themselves into when they sign up for this shit?
She has told the researchers that an angel once visited her when she had a high fever as a child, and that every now and then she communicates with spirit guides for advice and support. She also suffers from depression. In her 20s, she overdosed on tranquilizers and was hospitalized for 2 weeks following the suicide attempt. Today, she wants to find out whether DMT can help her gain a deeper understanding of herself and her relationship to the universe. The experiment is set to begin in just a few seconds. The onset of DMT's effects largely depend on how you consume it. Most recreational users smoke DMT using a glass pipe. This makes the effects kick in extremely fast, usually in under 1 minute. The peak experience tends to last only a couple of minutes before wearing off. The smoke tastes unpleasant and can trigger coughing fits. Another substance closely related to N and DMT is called 5-MeO-DMT.
Yup. That's what I was talking about, bro. They set people off that frog venom.
This YouTuber smoked it for one of his videos. Others try to consume it like this. 5-MeO-DMT occurs naturally in secretions of the Colorado River toad. A common misconception is that licking the toad will get you high. It won't, and it can be extremely toxic. Most research today focuses on synthetic 5-MeO-DMT. It also kicks in very fast and strong, but tends to produce far fewer visual hallucinations than N and DMT. DMT can also be snorted. In that case, the effects take a few minutes to kick in, but the trip also lasts a bit longer. Ayahuasca usually contains the highest dose of DMT. The effects begin after around 45 minutes and can last several hours. But the brew is tough on the stomach. Many people have to throw up during the trip. 2 things are paramount for a pleasant DMT experience. Set.
I don't think throwing up is set. It's gonna be set and setting is what he's gonna say. Set and setting. Yeah, have this ayahuasca. Okay, maybe I wouldn't take ayahuasca if I'm guaranteed gonna vomit. I feel like that would make the experience so much worse. It's called purging. Honestly, maybe it would feel better because you would feel gross and then you'd throw up and you'd probably feel so much better.
And setting. The right
your trip would probably get better.
Mix of emotional stability and soothing surroundings. Experts recommend a calm environment where users feel safe and are able to lie down comfortably. Mixing substances can be extremely dangerous. Some users avoid alcohol, masturbation, and watching the news before attending an ayahuasca retreat. But not even the best preparation can guarantee DMT won't produce what many call a
avoid masturbation and watching the news. What?
bad trip.
What?
Some users online describe experiences that leave them shaken for days, with flashbacks to vivid hallucinations of falling or flying through tunnels, and encounters with frightening beings.
The news can be bad. No, I get more of the news. I'm like, what the fuck's jerking off have to do with a good or a bad trip?
Psychedelics can also worsen existing mental health issues. People who suffer from psychotic disorders or are mentally unstable should not take them.
Yeah, if you're like predisposed for like schizophrenia or other mental disorders, you shouldn't.
In general, DMT should never be used without professional guidance. Sarah's experience will be guided by Dr. Strassman. In clinical settings like this one, DMT is administered via IV injection. It hits almost instantly. Sarah has previously been given a low introductory dose to see how her body reacts to the substance. Recreational users are advised to start with similar test doses. Sarah's low dose experience has been pleasant and relaxing. Now she's about to receive 5 full doses. She will go on 5 consecutive—
What? We're jumping from 0.05 to 5 full? What happened to the slow climb? We're just gonna be like, all right, well, you didn't die.
Trips. After each one, Strassman will let her come—
Wait, she's gonna trip 5 times in a row?
Doses. Sarah's low dose experience has been pleasant and relaxing. Now she's about to receive 5 full doses. She will go on 5 consecutive trips. After each one, Strassman will let her come down to check in with her. She's all set.
Yo, I feel like you could like lose your mind though, low key. Like I know it's supposed to be good in some points for like finding yourself, but like she's gonna trip, come down from the trip, and then they're gonna interview her and immediately put her back in.
Sarah can feel the cool touch of Strassman's hand, and she's trying to count her heartbeats.
I got to 3 beats. Then there was a sound. Like a hum that turned into a whoosh. And then I was blasted out of my body at such speed, with such force, as if it were the speed of light. The colors were aggressive, terrifying. I felt as if they would consume me. As if I were on a warp speed conveyor belt heading straight into the cosmic, psychedelic buzzsaw. I was terrified. I felt abandoned. I'm completely and totally lost. I have never been so alone. I was scared, but I kept telling myself, relax, surrender, embrace. It was all flashing and whirling lights. I was rather disappointed. Here I'm expecting this profound spiritual experience, and I get Las Vegas. But then, before I had much time to be disappointed, I flew on and saw clowns performing. They were like toys or animated clowns. I had the overwhelming urge to laugh. I was kind of self-conscious about it at first, but I couldn't contain
That shit would not make me laugh, bro. If I saw clowns while I was tripping, that would make things so much worse.
myself, and I laughed out loud watching those clowns. Suddenly, a pulsating entity appeared in the patterns. It sounds weird to describe it as Tinkerbell-like. It was trying to coax me to go with it. At first, I was reluctant. I did want to go with it. I could tell the drug was starting to wear off, and I wasn't high enough to follow it. I told it, I can't go with you now. See, they want me back. It didn't seem to be offended, and in fact followed me back until I sensed it had reached its boundary. I felt like it was saying goodbye.
Sarah needs a short break. The start of her trip has been especially intense. That's something Timmerman hears from many of his own participants.
People can feel, especially at the beginning of the experience, that they're being launched from a rocket, as if they're like going into outer space and they're in a rocket. And so there's a strong feeling of energy and vibrations in their body. They are interacting with beings, spirits, entities, jesters, clowns, a range of different ways in which people see these beings that interact with the participants, that they engage with them, invite them to something, to communicate, and so forth and so on.
Encounters with such beings seem to be a common experience in many DMT trips. For one of his studies, Timmerman analyzed nearly 4,000 DMT experiences posted on Reddit. Almost half mentioned similar entity encounters. In a 2021 field study with 36 participants, almost everyone reported an encounter with some sort of sentient being. But how do these encounters actually unfold? That's what Baltimore's Johns Hopkins University asked over 2,500 DMT users.
Yeah, and like what in your brain is making you interact with these things? A lot of people would say it would be like another universe that you're like breaching into, but I feel like largely they're trying to figure out like what scientifically is going on in your brain that's making you produce these visuals of like literally like a conversation you're having with yourself, but you don't control what the other thing is saying.
In an online survey.
Yeah, it's like a consciousness personified. I would assume it's like an awake dream state, you know? Like, when you're dreaming, you are interacting with other things, and those things are interacting with you. You feel as if you're in control of yourself in the dream, even if you're not lucid dreaming, you're kind of like controlling your interaction. But the alternative or the ulterior people around you, you don't. I would assume it's that, but just amplified because you're conscious while it's happening.
First question was about the primary senses involved in the encounter. Most participants reported seeing them, and more than half described hearing them. About a third said they could touch them, while some could even smell or taste them. A whopping 85% described their encounter as extrasensory or telepathic. The most common descriptive labels for the entities were beings, guides, spirits, aliens, and helpers. Less common labels were clowns, demons, gnomes, monsters, or devils.
Dude, I would be the 2%, man. I'd see Lucifer himself.
As to the emotions involved, most participants reported feelings of love, trust, and joy. Only a minority experienced fear. 11% believed they had encountered religious figures.
Well, I feel like you could have both. Like you could experience fear and love within the same trip.
11% believed they had encountered religious figures, meaning some people think they saw God in these beings.
This is what some of the research has found, and some people have reported that. And it is interesting because,
I could so see myself, like, signing up for one of these experiments, and everybody around me being like, I saw God. It's just a great experience. It was so eye-opening. And then I'm tripping, and I just see, like, Big Chungus. And, like, like, me and Big Chungus go to, like, a mediocre, like, water park together or something. Like, we have, like, a very mid experience. It's like, I'm like, oh, I'm really hyped. I think I'm gonna see God. And then it's just, like, you know, just the most lackluster. I see Sonic, But me and him are just going to like Spencer's, and we're going to Spencer's, just strolling the store, some shit. And I'm like, damn, dude, this is kind of lame. He's like over explaining things to me. Big Chungus is trauma dumping on me right mid trip, and I'm sitting there like, damn, bro, that sucks. Yeah, bro. Yeah, like I'm trying to like figure out my own shit, you know.
Way God is a personification of these spiritual or mystical like qualities according to certain religions, and it seems that DMT stimulates those sort of experiences.
DMT appears to have a significant impact on people's religious beliefs and their sense of spirituality. This study surveyed users who reported so-called God encounter experiences during psychedelic trips. 25% described them as atheists before their trip, meaning they didn't believe in God. Afterwards, their number dropped to just 7%. Among ayahuasca users, atheist identification declined from 12 to 3%.
I wonder if those people have taken mushrooms previously. I wouldn't say that I'm an atheist. I would say when I've tripped, I have felt like an overall welcoming love from the universe, but I would say that's more attuned to the universe than a specific religion. Like, I could believe in a God. I don't believe in any organized religion.
Sarah, too, is...
That's why I would say I'm agnostic. Like, I don't believe in any monotheistic religion. For sure. But like, I could get behind the idea that a God exists.
Deeply moved by these encounters. She's about to receive her final injection.
I went directly into deep space. They knew I was coming back. They told me there were many things they could share with us when we learn how to make more extended contact. Again, they wanted something from me, not just physical information. They were interested in emotions and feelings. I told them, we have something we can give you, spirituality. I guess what I really meant was love. I tried to figure out how to do this. I felt a tremendous energy, brilliant pink light with white edges, building on my left side. I knew it was spiritual energy and love. They were on my right, so I reached out my hands across the universe and prepared to be a bridge. I let this energy pass through me to them. I said something like, "See, there, I did it for you. You have it." They were grateful. I was coming down off the DMT, losing altitude.
Sarah didn't expect to become what she called an earthly spiritual emissary during her trip. She doesn't feel comfortable with that role, but has done her best to live up to it. Now it's the next participant's turn, number 35. Over the course of 5 years, Strassman observes hundreds of these trips. He administers about 400 doses of DMT to 60 volunteers. He eventually calls DMT the spirit molecule, because of the spiritual and metaphysical experiences it appears to induce. Strassman's work in the 1990s was groundbreaking research, but it also raised more questions than it could answer. Since then, many neuroscientists have picked up where he left off. So what's actually happening inside our brain when we take DMT?
Dude, this is such an interesting video. Would you sign up for this? I don't think I would want to do 5 trips in a row now. I would sign up for something like this where it's like, you know, medically monitored for me to do DMT and explain an experience though.
Modern neuroscience suggests that our brain has a hierarchical modular organization. Modular means that certain nerve cells work together in different types of clusters or brain networks, specialized in specific functions. There appears to only be a limited amount of communication between these networks. Hierarchical means that higher order areas, like the prefrontal cortex, collect signals from different areas across the brain to coordinate appropriate responses. But that entire organization seems to pretty much collapse when our brain is on DMT. The key players here are these special serotonin receptors. They determine how sensitive neurons react to incoming signals. That in turn impacts how information is transmitted and processed within and across brain regions. When DMT binds to these receptors, the brain's usual top-down control mechanisms become less effective. It's like the neurochemical reins come off. One of the experts we talked to thinks DMT makes the brain become more democratic. Another calls it anarchy. Either way, the brain suddenly enters a state in which far more areas communicate with each other than usual. Scientists call this global hyperconnectivity. It's completely different from how the brain normally operates. But how does this explain these extremely vivid hallucinations? Why do some users feel as if they're entering an entirely different reality? One explanation,
like a part of your brain, like I feel like it has to be related to like dreaming. Like a part of your brain that's active when you're asleep more so and more connected is like awake while you're awake, and that's not normal.
Is that the brain sort of disconnects from external information. In this paper, Chris Timmerman proposes that DMT disrupts the brain's normal way of processing sensory input. The technical term is functional deafferentation.
It's a state of disconnected consciousness. We're disconnected from the external environment individuals feel.
Instead, the brain shifts into a completely new state, a kind of internal simulation.
They report that they are in an immersive world of experience.
But where does this other world come from? One clue to unravel this mystery could be dreaming. All those weird things that happen in our dreams seem similar to what people describe on DMT.
They are disconnected.
But you're so much more conscious. You're disconnected from the external experience, right? Like you're not seeing like your eyes could be open, you're on DMT, you're not even seeing what your eyes are seeing. Like you're just witnessing your own trip itself because you're basically awake dreaming.
From their immediate environments and their own brains, and the organism as a whole is reconstructing an alternative world of experience. It's very similar to what happens during DMT experiences.
Timmerman and colleagues found that the strongest rhythms of theta waves in the brain correlate with the peak of a DMT trip. The same patterns are found during REM sleep. He writes that a DMT trip is like dreaming with your eyes open, except that DMT trips are usually far more intense and vivid than normal dreams. Neuroscientist Andrew Gallimore has a theory about why that is. In our dreams, the brain sort of rebuilds our real-life experiences, drawing on established patterns of information. But on DMT, those familiar templates come undone. Everything becomes more open, chaotic, and unpredictable.
It's like you're seeing the world anew, like you've never seen it before. Your brain, you haven't decided what you're seeing. And coupled with this increased sensitivity to sensory information, the world becomes transcendent. It becomes much more vivid.
Which brings us to one of the wildest DMT experiences of all, encountering spiritual entities or sentient beings. There are different theories about these types of encounters. One study examined how these two brain regions behave under the influence of DMT. These areas are essential for recognizing social cues and processing the emotional dynamics of human interaction.
So when we have our normal experiences and we interact with our partners or co-workers, our sons and daughters, these same systems also start engaging in the brain.
In turn, these areas become active when we try to understand someone else's thoughts and feelings, or more specifically, when we try to distinguish their mental state from our own.
So right now we're working with a hypothesis based on what we found, that in essence what DMT does, it engages parts of what we call social cognition, the ways in which we build up our relationships in the world.
In the hyperconnected DMT brain, these two regions engage far more intensely with each other and with other areas.
And so we believe
your brain is controlling it, but you're creating like an ulterior individual that you're communicating with like you would an actual different person.
That enhances or pronounce or enable the appearances of these beings or entities. It's almost as if we simulate those social relations.
Put simply, the brain massively ramps up its resources for processing social signals. And that could explain why so many DMT users encounter these entities or beings. Another key to understanding the substance could be just how similar DMT trips seem to feel to so-called near-death experiences. Such experiences can occur during traffic accidents, suicide attempts, and cardiac arrests. Many report a sense of brightness, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, losing track of time and space, or gaining insight into some ultimate truth.
The features that are similar to the near-death experiences and the DMT experiences are that feeling that many people have, that they have reached a sort of boundary or a limit of where they can go in this alternate reality or universe.
Timmerman thinks these near-death experiences could also be linked to global hyperconnectivity.
That is such a big transformation of the mind, such a big transformation of the brain, that it is likely that the brain is sending a signal that it's dying, that it is being transformed beyond recognition.
In other words, there's so much going on in the brain during a DMT trip that the brain blows all of its fuses. It basically thinks it's dying. And yet, there's one major difference between DMT trips and near-death experiences.
DMT is more visual. and near-death experiences are more disembodied.
Then again, near-death experiences are also far from being fully understood. This makes it even harder to draw reliable scientific conclusions with regard to DMT. Back in the 90s,
Yo, this is actually like one of the best YouTube videos I've ever seen, bro. This is so fucking fascinating.
Rick Strassman proposed a bold hypothesis that the spirit molecule, DMT.
So when you're tripping, not only is it like you're awake dreaming, it's like so amplified that like you're almost feeling what it would be like in your last moments, because your brain's actually convincing itself that you're fucking almost dead.
Might be released during crucial life events like birth, death, or profound mystical experiences. Today, there is strong evidence suggesting that DMT is produced naturally in mammalian brains. Scientists are still investigating why that is. Early findings suggest that DMT release in the brain correlates with a massive surge of stress hormones. One experiment with lab rats showed a significant increase in DMT levels following cardiac arrest. Another study suggests that releasing DMT in the brain could also have a protective function. The compound appears to activate a receptor that helps brain cells survive oxygen deprivation and oxidative stress. So DMT might as well be a kind of built-in emergency medication for life-threatening situations. And a very recent study suggests that DMT levels in our brain might be much higher than previously assumed, and that it may be involved in a number of physiological processes. So here's what we know so far. DMT occurs naturally in plants.
But when is that DMT in your body actually released outside of, oxygen deprivation, when you're having a fucking heart attack or when you're actually about to die? Like, are you getting microdosed with DMT like constantly? Like if there's that amount of DMT in your brain, when are you feeling it?
Mammals and humans. It's even considered endogenous, meaning our own bodies may produce it. We also know that when on DMT, our brain seems to be far more interconnected, that it activates so many different areas that it can feel like entering an entirely different world, one where we can communicate with all sorts of otherworldly beings. And in some cases, our brain gets so overwhelmed by this hyperconnected state that it thinks it's dying. But all of this is just the beginning. Early clues, hypotheses, and indications. Nothing more and nothing less. Most of the questions DMT poses to science are still wide open. For now, DMT remains a vast, unsolved mystery. We still don't fully understand how it creates such vivid hallucinations. We don't really know why our own body produces it, and we certainly don't understand how 50 milligrams of this tiny molecule can reshape entire lives in just 20 minutes. We're back in the Amazon rainforest, about 170 years after Richard Spruce. Once again, a British researcher is attending an ayahuasca ceremony. But things are different this time. Simon Ruffle is not a botanist, he's a psychiatrist. Unlike Spruce, he knows exactly what active compound he's dealing with. For the past decade, he's been studying ayahuasca to explore its potential role in healing trauma, like PTSD in war veterans. But so far, the number of participants has been too small for conclusive results, and some of them feel their mental health has worsened after the ayahuasca experience.
Wow.
But others show first signs of improvement. In some participants, Ruffle has observed significant reductions in depression and anxiety outcomes. Timmerman has seen similar indicators in his own research. His theory:
Depressed individuals tend to think that they are worthless individuals, that they are unlovable, for example. They adopt beliefs that are no longer useful for them. What DMT does, it acts on these brain mechanisms that are related to that sense of self. And they
Oh my God. And so you've built this idea that like you're unlovable, your life sucks, and that'll never change. And so that DMT removes that linear line of thinking, and you could rebuild the way that you perceive your own life.
dynamically can
And then literally come out of it entirely different.
change it in a lasting way.
Some studies suggest that meditation and other mindfulness-based practices could offer positive effects that are similar to those of psychedelic experiences.
Yeah, people that are really good at meditation and like long-term deep meditation do report that like they experience time dilation and hallucinations similarly. One of my philosophy professors, the one that was from Korea that taught me about Buddhism and Chinese philosophy in general, or just Asian philosophy in general, was really into meditation. And he told us that he would meditate for hours on end and it would feel like weeks.
But research on that is also just beginning. Chris Timmerman will continue to explore DMT's medical use, but he's also looking to unravel an even bigger mystery: human consciousness itself.
I'm particularly interested in using DMT to help us understand how we construct our usual worlds of experience.
He's chasing the same secret that made Terence McKenna set out about 60 years ago.
The world that we see out there is not necessarily the same world that is truly out there. We as human beings, our brains construct that world. I'm interested in using DMT to help us understand that construction.
What and how we map everything that we understand, because the world in the way that we perceive it is not actually the way that the world is. It's the way that our mind perceives it to help us survive. Wow. Scenes, part one, basically summarizing it. Honey would not give you the back when Honey was like, you know, popping off. I would have fucking nonstop ordered shit, man. Like if that's code, they would give you worse codes that made it seem like you were saving money, but in reality, they would have literally been like Clash of Clans, free gems, glitch come true. Like I were working with the businesses behind the scenes to give you codes to make it seem like things were on sale when it would have nonstop. I would have ran that shit up. Oh my God. If I was on a website, I don't even care when in reality they weren't actually saving you money. They were actually making money on you. And they would also make money on commission. It was. I'd buy like pounds of paper clips. Yeah, like if I was buying some shit from through the code. So if creators were doing ads for Honey, Staples, and I got a $50 off gift card, I would just run that back 1,000,000 times. And you used Honey as an extension, but then they shouted out another ad company that like they got like
or under. When I alerted the business, they appeared to have no idea how the code had been leaked.
Shared revenue on, like say like Gamer Subs, where I'm like use code BART, right? But then if you had Honey, Honey would input their own code and then fuck over the creator. So they were...
Now, believe it or not, this nightmare for online stores only gets worse.
Screwing people, they were screwing creators, and they were taking your personal information.
So we usually use discount codes as a way to track when influencers or partners are...
PayPal's...
All while they said they didn't do that.
Are sending traffic to us so that we can identify the sale was...
That's what I was saying earlier.
Honey Money's
next vid, pal. Yo, ban that kid.
Saving browser extension is accused of scamming customers and YouTube creators.
Attributed to that influencer, and
that's what fucks over the influencers. That's why I'm always like, when I do just for Gamer Subs in general, like when I go use code BART.
The biggest YouTube scam has just been revealed.
The greatest scam in the history of the creator economy. People have been getting influenced and scammed, and I've been a part of it.
And you use code BART. Gamer Subs tracks that. They get a tally. You know, somebody bought a drink or a cup or a shaker or whatever it is, a tub.
It involves almost every high-profile creator that I can think of, including myself.
Using my code. And then you sometimes, depending on the company, might get a share of revenue, or they might pay you flat fee and then just see to track your usage and then re-up with another offer later on, because there's different types of ads. You do flat rate ads, you do...
Honey paid a lot of influencers up front
while taking money out of their back pockets.
View cap ads, and you do affiliate ads.
Whoa, that's a little shady, mind you.
Right, flat rate ad, most ads that you see on YouTube, company pays you a flat fee, you do the ad as a big ass creator. Like say you're fucking, Asmongold Gold. I don't know if he ever did an ad for Honey, but you shake hands and leave. They might come back to you a month later and go, you know, we had a lot of code usages. We want to work with you again. Say you're like, who's a big creator that did it? Like, or like Linus Tech Tips. Like say you're like Linus Tech Tips. They might pay you more or less depending or equal. Then you have view cap ads, which is ads where they go, hey, we're going to pay you a minimum of, say, $1,000, but you can max out at 500K views. And if you hit 500K views, we'll pay you this amount of money. And I've done a few of those, but they kind of suck because it's really dependent on viewer performance. And you do an ad for Honey, and they pay you like $12,000. And then they have just affiliate ads, which is like what your friend that has a Gymshark code does is $. Up front, you're making money on them, but Honey behind your back is now taking your viewers that use your browser extension and making all of your revenue from your videos, like at your high school. And he says, Gymshark partner, use code Blake for 30% off or 20% off. He doesn't get paid through other ads. All that revenue goes directly to them. So like behind your back, they're taking your money and they're also making every ad you do appear worse to the ad company because every code usage gets rerouted to them. So that's how format of like many long-term partners that streamers do. You just get shared revenue. They track your performance, right? So if I do an ad for a company and I say use code blank, they
pay them a commission. So I think we saw one code started to get used like way more, and we were like, wow, we're paying this influencer.
Check a few things. The views on the video, they're checking clicks, and they're checking code usage.
There's so much, they're doing so well, and I was like a little bit suspicious.
And those three things determine if they want to do an ad for you again. The first two are still shown, but
a lot of times discount codes are the only way for you to understand if a YouTuber that you love and would love to partner with.
Honey removes the third one, and the third one is the one that matters the most. Code usage is turnover rate, and new customers
is actually driving incremental value to your business. Those codes would immediately get picked up by Honey, and then they'd be used.
Than keeping one. And so when they get a code usage, it would be picked up by Honey, and then that influencer, then this company's seeing that influencer as a bad marketing person, right? That shows that your ad worked. But Honey removes that and makes it seem like your ad sucked. So to you, they're paying you money, but they're also fucking stabbing you in the dick. They're seeing their audience is not engaging, and then that company never comes back while they're fucking doing it. So they're like, here.
Hundreds of thousands of times, and you'd be like, all right, like not only does that negatively,
and they're just ruining the rest of the ads that you do for eternity.
Impact our business. It was for that audience, but we have no idea which podcaster we should continue to support
up front
while taking money out of their back pockets.
Whoa, that's a little
Now, if you're someone who listens to podcasts, you probably know exactly what Chip is talking about here. When brands advertise on podcasts, affiliate links aren't always practical. Listeners could be running, driving, or doing the laundry without easy access to a computer. So, instead...
Brother.
Heilige Scheiße.
I'm the biggest Honey fan in the world.
Brands will provide podcasters with a unique coupon code, and each time the listener uses that coupon code at checkout,
Ludwig, no!
They've also...
Bro, they make you say that shit, though. Talk about how much you like the company.
The podcaster earns a commission, just like an affiliate.
Oh my God, yo, I was watching Family Guy on the hotel fucking TV on cable when I was in New York. And there was I forgot how often ads show on cable TV. Every 5 minutes there was ads. And talk about how you use it every day.
Been lying.
And it was for this off-brand, it wasn't Dollar Shave Club. It was like an off-brand Dollar Shave Club. It spammed that ad and use a personal, say something personal.
To consumers.
They are clearly not giving the best coupon.
I use Honey all the time. Whenever I'm buying stuff, I use Honey. It inputs the code really easily. A million times, and it spammed the same Nugenix ad every time. And it was this old fuck that used to be in the
coupon codes and discounts to users.
If you have downloaded Honey, I do recommend removing it from your browser.
MLB that was like, yeah, like my dick doesn't get hard anymore. And then
I do think that this investigation from Megalag will lead to a huge class action lawsuit against Honey.
Oh, what the fuck am I watching? And it was that ad over and over again.
So on behalf of creators everywhere, I have filed a class action lawsuit.
And bro, listen, this is relevant to the Honey story. Trust me, I'm gonna loop it all back.
We're suing PayPal and Honey. Gamers Nexus is the lead plaintiff in a class action complaint filed against PayPal and its property, Honey.
Actually say that. It was like this guy lifting, and it's like, yo, Robert, you look big. And he's like, thanks, man. I forgot from the first video that PayPal owns Honey. Been using Nugenix. Total T. Total T.
Safe to say PayPal's lawyers love my last video.
You know, men over 40, their fucking testosterone goes lower, so they need a...
But don't worry, PayPal. You know what they say. All press is good press. Right?
Yo, PayPal's also a fucking old ass. Use this and it makes them stronger and shit. And then it flashes to this big burly man's UI, bro. Using PayPal feels like I'm back in like 2008, man. Like it's terrible. That's like really fucking hot. And he goes, and she'll like,
let's see. Since releasing part 1 of my investigation, Honey
it too. And it's basically saying like, hey, your dick will fucking work again. But it's like the only thing that people use. PayPal's like used to buy shit everywhere, but it's the worst platform. And then I got Vietnam flashbacks to when I used to work at GNC, and they used to tell me that I should tell that to old men. And I was like, oh my God. Because when I used to work at GNC, they used to sell Nugenics.
It's lost over 6 million users. Google has changed their policies.
And part of the selling point was like, hey, if you can't get hard, like, this might help. But like, you gotta nonchalantly bring that into the conversation. And the reason I'm bringing this up
is for browser extensions, blocking Honey from claiming undeserved commissions, and most significantly, PayPal has been slammed with over 20
is because every ad break was a Nugenics ad, but every Nugenics ad break had a different discount code. It was the same.
Class action lawsuits accusing them of wiretapping, computer hacking, unfair competition, consumer fraud.
Same ad, but it was like, use code HUNT20. Use code MAN40. Use code
tortious
computer hacking.
Interference and unjust enrichment. Yikes. Maybe not them.
Code fucking cash 10. And it was like, text this number or some shit. It was stupid. Did you use?
And unfortunately for PayPal, I suspect more lawsuits will be filed following the release of this video. Why? Well, you see, besides lying to consumers...
No, but I almost texted the company because I was like, dude, what the fuck would it respond with? It was a different code every time.
So these are not your typical coupon codes. Behind them, you have an influencer that's trying to earn a living, you have and stealing from influencers. Honey was also causing serious harm to small businesses. So much so, business paying to promote their product, and there's usually a contract binding the two together. Regardless...
Dude, I couldn't get over it too, man. It was just, and she'll like it too. Just say it.
So that I believe brands have likely suffered millions of dollars in damages. But that's not all. In this video, you're also going to learn how Honey was collecting and sharing your data, and how they, in my opinion, Honey will step in, leak the codes to users, disrupting that illegally targeted minors through influencers such as Mr. Beast. Strong accusations, I know, but I have the receipts. I've reviewed internal data, Honey's source code, their pitch deck to investors, disturbing emails.
What, they were doing like a Facebook Mark Zuckerberg thing where they were selling people's info? Dude, anything that's like, I feel like the best thing that I've ever heard marketing-wise is if a product is free, you're the product.
Business relationship. The result? Not only do brands end up losing money from the leaked discounts, on top of that, they're now...
And I feel like that is the most true... Like, if you're not paying for the use of something or an item or anything, you're the product. You're the guy that's making that company money.
Between Honey and small business.
Whether it's selling your information or like using data or, you know, mining Bitcoin on your computer.
I've reviewed interviews and much, much more.
What about ripping a free Muha? If somebody just gave you a free Muha med, I think you are ripping straight vitamin E.
Are forced to pay undeserved commissions to the influencers whose codes got leaked.
And you're probably gonna die.
You're about to get inside. It's easy to imagine how quickly something like this could spiral out of control. In fact, one business owner on Twitter reported losing...
No one gives out a free card.
...into one of the most scummy, predatory business models I have ever seen. You'll $100,000 from this exact issue. You'll also find out why my investigation has triggered multiple class action lawsuits against other corporate giants such as... And he only realized it happening several months later. Microsoft, Capital One, Klarna, Rakuten, and Retail Me Not. It's no laughing matter. And if you think this is a huge win for influencers because they get paid a bunch of undeserved commissions, well, think again.
I mean, we basically pulled all out of the podcast realm because there was really no way to figure out how to...
Per usual, the views, allegations, and conclusions expressed in this series are my opinions based on evidence I have...
How to attribute any successes or failures.
We are your product? In a content perspective...
We basically can't do that anymore because as soon as a code becomes used by one person, it's suddenly...
Perspective, no. I'm like a middleman for YouTube, right? Like the way YouTube works, I don't run ads on Twitch, so you're not really the product. Like you just watch me for free unless you get ads.
Used by everybody.
For pre-rolls. But yeah, I mean, I provide content. I provide the product. YouTube is a company
This is a nightmare situation for everyone involved.
But YouTube's like a strip mall. I set up a shop.
Not all businesses are affected equally. Honey's actions are especially devastating.
I bring in customers. YouTube sells the product in my strip mall. I'm just the guy out front bringing you in, right? I have my own little mini store at YouTube.
The big retailers can push back. They have dedicated marketing teams, advanced analytic tools.
Strip mall. I don't sell any products. I just sell my content, right? I bring your...
And the legal muscle to respond. Smaller businesses, on the other hand, don't have that luxury.
I just gather attention, right? I'm a guy doing tricks on the side. And if you come watch me, then they hit.
So when a multi-billion-dollar company like PayPal piles on more obstacles,
hit you with a Doritos ad. And then I get a cut of that, right? Like, that's how it works.
It's not just frustrating, it's downright predatory. Gathered, which will be shared throughout. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to part 2 of the Honey Trap. In fact, Made in Cookware CEO Chip perfectly summed up the devastating impact Honey's actions can have on a small business.
When you're in the early stages of building a business, you're in the stage of, will this company even work? Is there product market fit? How do I scale this thing? Can the economics work, right? And so all the things we talked about,
There were many moments throughout this investigation where I thought I'd reached the end of the rabbit hole. I thought I understood everything there was to know about
discount codes and the kind of removal of attribution and killing margin. Like, those really affect the early stages
of Honey's dirty business model. They were claiming the credit for
a company, from everything from where do I put the next dollar in to make sure I can survive, down to you're taking 10, 15, 20% of my sales without me wanting it. And we have digital marketing costs, we have shipping costs, we have all these
sales they hadn't earned, poaching the affiliate commissions from content creators,
stacks of costs that not only are getting more inflated over time, like FedEx has been raising their rates over time, warehousing.
Well, and being a small business is really hard because you already have to try and have competitive pricing to match other big retailers. And then when Honey's already slashing those codes.
And they were intentionally withholding discounts from users for their own financial gain.
That you're still, in a profitable margin, but those codes are kind of making you really like tread the line there on like red and green.
Rendering the entire value behind their core product a lie. Kind of hard to believe it could get much worse than that.
Small businesses anymore outside of like rural air, like really rural.
But unfortunately, it does. And I realized this after noticing a strange but reoccurring anomaly. You see,
that's hard. Really rural areas.
See, in most cases, when Honey popped up at checkout and I clicked up,
like when you're in the middle of nowhere, there's always like a local coffee shop.
Like coupons, a discrete tab would open in the top left corner of my browser.
And all this other shit. Or if you're in big cities, there's a mixture, but kind of like that.
That's Honey injecting a simulated referral click, attempting to claim the credit for a sale.
In between town where you're that kid that hangs out at Walmart on Fridays. Like, you never really fucking see small.
But here's where things got weird. Every once in a while, I'd come across a store where, after clicking apply coupons, Honey wouldn't load their affiliate link.
All businesses anymore because those big companies that come in just steamroll everybody else. And now, like, that's...
So, why not? At first, I thought it might be a bug, but quickly ruled that out.
Hurting even more companies, especially in the online business where you're trying to fucking compete with Amazon and you're just getting fucked.
After noticing the same anomaly on multiple websites. Even stranger, when this would happen, I was generally finding better deals.
Costs have gone up, COGS have gone up, as you know, through inflation for the last 4 or 5 years, right? Like, all the costs.
So, what gives? Well, for the longest time, I was under the assumption that Honey would only pop up on websites that had agreed to partner with them. But I couldn't have been more wrong. And I realized this after stumbling across...
Structures have been going up, and to have someone just stealing...
across a post on Shopify's community forum, where a store owner complained that...
compressing the actual revenue you want, like, puts small businesses in a real squeeze. It's just really disappointing. And
Honey was leaking their coupon codes without their permission. And as I read through the replies, I could see other stores had the same issue. Now, this was a pivotal moment in my investigation because it turned my entire understanding of Honey's business model upside down. Until now, I was so focused on the impact Honey had on consumers and influencers that I didn't even think to consider the potential impact to businesses. Though in my defense, Honey consistently referred to the 30,000 stores on its platform as participating stores. So one would assume that every store on Honey's platform joined willingly and with consent.
It doesn't even work, because at the end of the day, you need to make the numbers work. And if Honey,
clearly that wasn't the case. So I reached out to several business owners to learn more.
Honey takes the codes that people use on our website, the discount codes, and
it's going to steal 10% of your revenue all the time. You're going to have to raise prices at the end of the day to make up for that, right? And so
and makes them public to everybody who's using Honey.
Not only not effective, but it makes it worse for the consumer. It compresses for the small business owner any margin.
We started having problems with...
Oh my God. So if you were just some random guy that had a 20% off,
it's just a really awful business model. We've been so mad at them for so long.
Coupon code, then Honey would just leak that to all your customers.
Really sad. And Chip's point about the impact to consumers is especially important. If Honey's eroding profit margins from retailers and they're forced to increase prices, well, that ultimately affects consumers.
Small business. Horrible for a small, if you're trying to make money and you're just giving a nice code out.
Now, as you'd expect, these businesses don't just let these issues slide. Naturally, they reach out to Honey to complain, asking to be removed from the platform. And that, unfortunately, is where the story takes a much darker turn.
Customers would get in touch via our support website saying, oh, hey, I just tried to use this discount, this 60%.
You see, Honey is well aware of the inconvenience.
60% off coupon and it doesn't work. I'd be
60% off. I don't think there should ever be a coupon 60% off. What the fuck?
Creates for these online stores. So when they inevitably reach out to Honey,
I feel 10, 25 tops. 60% off, brother. What?
How
are they making money?
We can look into it. Dude, that is not your discount. How did you get that? And they'd be like, oh, it just showed up through the Honey extension.
I hadn't heard about Honey before, and I was just hanging
asking to be removed. Does Honey oblige? Of course not.
Out on the couch with my girlfriend, and she made some comment about, oh, this app Honey that...
Instead, Honey goes, how about this? We'll give you full control over which coupons go live on our platform.
Basically gives you all these coupon codes, and I think she asked if we were on it.
But only if you partner with us. I kid you not.
I said no, and then she checked out our website and said, oh, you actually are on it, and it's giving this...
yo, we're not going to take your shit off, but we will let you put codes, but you have to give us a cut.
15 or 20% discount code. And so that's when I found out about it, and I was pretty...
In fact, Chip was kind enough to share his email exchanges with Honey from 2020. And you need to see it because...
Shocked because I didn't know how long it had been going on for. Yeah, it cost us...
Holy shit. It's bad. Now, it is a long email chain, so I'm not going to read the entire thing, but...
Get rid of coupons. You know what I mean? You can't get rid of Honey.
Skim over. Hi, I am the CEO of Meat and Cookware. Please remove us from your app. You've scraped a private friends and family code from our checkout and put it...
But you could get rid of codes. Just don't allow coupon codes. You know what I mean?
That on the platform for others to use. We've lost a bunch of revenue. 4 days later, Honey responds with... Hi Chip, thanks for reaching out. Honey supports over 40,000 stores online, and we always
be the... I'm not saying Honey's not in the wrong here. They are, but that is a solution. It just sucks because then you can't give... There's no sales.
Thousands. And...
Prioritize protecting the Honey experience for users by supporting available stores and displaying available codes. We can absolutely...
And I haven't even looked into how far back it went, but I know we just ended the code right away.
Now, absolutely remove the code in question. In order to protect the Honey experience for our users,
Oh, so they could get rid of it.
If you think that sounds bad, well, trust me, it gets a whole lot worse. I mean, right off the bat, they're basically saying, we won't compromise the experience for our users unless you...
They just had on their website a 20% off code that only a few people had, and then Honey leaked it to everybody, and they were just spam users. But what does the working relationship entail?
Pay us. Classy. we'd love to discuss how we can work more closely and partner with your brand.
That's usable like 100 times.
First,
and then it deletes.
It's important we understand the scale. Chip replies the same day, we don't offer affiliate deals to coupon sites. We'd like to be removed from your site and extension completely.
Would you have partnered with Honey in 2019? I didn't do social media then. I was never somebody that did a Honey ad because I wasn't on social media when Honey.
With the sales pitch not going to plan, Honey brings in their global partnerships manager, Kelly Rodek, who explains to Chip that
he was like popping off. I mean, they probably did ads like early 2020 into COVID, but like I wasn't nearly big enough for. Hi, Chip. Jumping in here. Oh my God, bro. The fucking email formality bullshit. Even making money to get offers, but I mean, on surface level, yeah, I probably would have taken it. Like, I get emails like this where they're like, hey, we could really increase your views. By the way, my name's Brian.
Of this issue. As you just heard, these store owners clearly...
Nice to meet you. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Just talk to me like I'm a regular person, bro.
So they can't possibly be among the so-called 30,000 participating stores, right?
Hi, Chip. Jumping in here. Name's Kelly, and I work on the partnerships team here at Honey. I know this must be a headache, and I'm happy.
So what?
Okay, let me give you a rundown. What is this fucking cookie cutter ass response, bro? And I get offered to do an ad. My manager hits me up. He says, do you want to do this ad? I go, do they have shit about them? And he'll go, it's like, that's why people hate customer service representatives, because they're literally reading a fucking slot. And yeah, no, or, this, but it's been, it's been, in front of them on like what to say in response to you. Holy shit. It's been fixed. Like drama 5 years ago, but it's fine.
His leak code was added through Honey's user-generated coupon functionality. No surprises there.
And then I decide. If there's like shit about the company, no. Like
She completely ignores his request to be removed from the platform, only offering to remove the leaked employee discount.
Really stray away from like straight up AI shit or anything crypto related. Like, there's a lot of companies that are crypto related that want to pay me like crazy funny money. And I'm like...
Chip replies the same day, our friends and family code was listed on your site. That was an internal code meant for a small group of people.
Nah. Because I can't be like, yo, go invest in meme coins on this site.
That was never published anywhere. A whole site can't be removed from your app.
Like... I do DraftKings ads. Like, I've done sports betting ads, but like, I stay away from straight up casinos.
Honey only responds a week later, confirming they removed the employee discount, but again, completely ignores Chip's request to be...
Really, sports betting is kind of like the end that I'll go to, usually.
Was Honey lying to consumers?
I would do like an alcohol ad, though. I've said that. I would be like 21...
Removed from Honey. Chip responds immediately, pushing for an answer, but they ignore his email completely.
Older, if like Corona wanted to pay me, I'd be like, fucking Jack Daniels.
Consumers about the true number of stores supported by its platform. And just how many stores a month later, and Honey leaks another private discount code. Did Honey add to its platform without consent? Was it hundreds? Thousands? Hi, please remove from your app. That is a private code behind a private employee perk login. Tens of thousands? Well, that's where things get interesting. You see, when I started combing, this should never be public. I don't understand how you feel taking a private employee perk and making that public to the world is helping our business.
Yo, Kelly Rodak is just dealing with pissed motherfucker. Bad Dragon, I got sex toy offers, never did them. That one I was like, I didn't know though. Right, I did a Trojan ad. That was.
And he responds confirming they removed the code.
Hi, Chip. Hi, Chip.
But instead of taking responsibility, they try shifting the blame onto Chip.
It's easy because it was just like prevent STDs, use condoms, Trojan, right?
Suggesting his employees might be responsible for shifting.
But this one company reached out to me. Is it possible that a Maiden Cookware employee is a Honey user?
Sharing the code with Honey.
It wasn't Bad Dragon. And I was like, I don't know.
Through the business side of Honey's website, I noticed, but given what we know about their system, I'm willing to bet Honey were responsible for the leak.
Why do they use you for those types of ads? Demographic. Like that company wanted to reach out to me. Bro, it's like that fake ass. It's like being fake nice. Like, I hate that. Early 20s would buy sex toys. So, like, that's... I'd rather somebody be a dickhead than, like, fake being nice. I mean, that's just... Same thing with, like, DraftKings. Like, a large percentage of my...
Not Chip's employees. Honey then suggests that Chip creates single-use codes for each and every employee.
My audience is, like, men between 18 and 30. So it's like, those are the people that are either...
essentially making it his responsibility to fix a problem they created in the first
going to be using DraftKings or already do use other sports betting websites.
Place. I would be fuming if this were my business. It's that Honey claims to only be partnered with 10,000 brands. 2 months later, and another private code gets leaked. And once again, Chip asks to be completely removed from the platform. That's 20,000 less than what they advertised to consumers. And this time, Honey finally addresses the question. We proudly host a... So I figured, okay, I guess 10,000 stores intentionally partnered with Honey, and the remaining 20,000 never signed up.
Lock in, bro. Stop asking me what's my go-to Wawa order, Bryce. A panini. Oven turkey.
Now, that would already be incredibly concerning and deeply misleading. But as it's...
Pepper jack cheese. If I could get mac on it, I would. Garlic sauce as well is amazing.
Turns out, the deception is far worse than that.
Then I'm probably going to go... Fuck, man. What else?
You see, as I continue digging...
Isn't sports betting 18 plus in the US? 21. Prediction markets are like a loophole in that, though. I mean, it really depends. You know, the drink's up for grabs. It could be a Propel. I could be getting, like a vitamin water. I maybe not even get a drink, you know, or like a sugar-free.
Consistent shopping experience for all Honey shoppers who rely on our shopping tools. Therefore, we cannot disable Honey for individual stores and never have.
Would you ever do an ad for Cash App? Brother, why are you asking? I've done 10 ads for Cash App. Lock it!
I stumbled across this file from Honey's extension called Never Have, huh? Well, that's interesting, because it just so happens that Andrew supported domains, which gets loaded onto your computer when you install Honey. And this from TrueGit Texture Supply also shared his email exchange with Honey. And would you believe it? File contains a list of over 180,000 online stores. He was dealing with the exact same Honey employee as Chip.
Wow.
That's a massive discrepancy from what's advertised.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry that you had an upset experience with our platform.
Anywhere on Honey's website. Now, of course, we could start making assumptions based on those.
Platform Honey. I'm here to make sure that you love our product and that we can show that we love you. I'm sorry that we leaked your 90% off code that's only for disabled veterans. We're not going to remove it. What we could do is partner with you, and then we'll remove it. We're going to be taking 10% of your annual revenue.
Those numbers alone, but we don't have to. Because it just so happens that Honey also...
Does that sound like a good deal? Best, Kelly.
And while Honey attempted the same sales pitch with Andrew...
We understand merchants may have coupon codes that are exclusive to a certain audience and are happy to work with you to create a solution that is mutually beneficial for both you and Honey users.
They did eventually remove his store from the platform. So yes, it is possible, and yes, they have done it before. Once again, we've caught Honey and who keeps detailed information for each of the online stores in this list, yet another calculated and deliberate lie. And make no mistake, it was deliberate because this employee, Kelly, confirmed the removal of Andrew's store just 1 month before assuring Chip that Honey had never removed a store before.
Ours is because if they let you use the code, they could track down what you bought and then sell that information to other advertisers to make money on you and your purchasing habits.
Honey clearly has the capability to remove stores, they just choose to enforce that decision selectively. Keep in mind, Honey and it's relative.
It's why every time, bro, you ever talk about something and then the next day you get an ad about it?
He knows exactly how many of their users are visiting a given store and how much they are spending. So it's relatively easy to access.
You're sitting there like,
that data. For example,
some hyper niche thing.
On Chrome, if we click how many
Epic Games? What the fuck is there's Honey codes on Epic Games?
Manage extensions, turn on developer mode, click on the service worker for Honey, and click on the network tab. We can now monitor what Honey does behind the scenes a little closer. So if we say visit apple.com, we can see that Honey is now accessing information from their database related to Apple. Looking at this one in particular, we can see that 2.9 million Honey users visited Apple's website in the past 30 days. We can also see that none of those users saved any money from coupons.
What are you getting fucking % off on V-Bucks?
Many of their users are visiting a given store and how much they are spending. So I'd speculate that this selective enforcement comes entirely down to which stores Honey believes will make them the most money. Now for the record, we can even see internal support and monetization notes that were left by Honey to get through that entire email chain between Chip and Honey. It goes on and on.
Just tracking everything you do online.
Employees. And this behavior is not an isolated incident. It's a pattern.
When merchants discover their codes have leaked and then they want to clamp down on that.
Interesting. Most importantly, however, we can also see that Honey has an affiliate link for Apple's
or DMT, in its pure synthetic form.
Sitting there going,
It looks like an inconspicuous crystalline powder.
It's a very simple molecule.
Bro, who was I talking to? Was this on stream? Or was I having
Mystical encounters and medical promise.
Note this conversation elsewhere. I knew a guy that was given a vape and he hid it.
For some people, the substance can also open doors to the darkest corners of their consciousness.
Not Phase anymore, just Lacey, sorry. Somebody told me that story and I remember I was talking to, it was a guy. I think it was at a bar. And I was like, bro, were you upset? He was like,
This is the enduring mystery of DMT.
Like, no, I had a good time. I'm like, dude, I would have been fucking tweaking, man. Imagine your friend, you're drunk, your friend hands you a fucking vape, and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's THC. You fucking hit that shit. DMT, and it's from the secretion frogs a Sonoran toad has. And the Sonoran toad releases this like whitish pus poison. And so they'll put the frog out of nowhere. What is this intro? Off of its back, dry it, and then smoke it.
Interacts with our brain, things seem to go completely off the rails.
These types of visuals are common on hallucinogens, and people always see them.
Many users say DMT fundamentally changed their lives. And yet, other experiences suggest.
And they're like, oh, that's what tripping's like. I'm like, dude, when you're tripping and you're actually seeing like not holograms, what are they called? It's in your eyes. The fractals. When you're seeing the fractals, like a kaleidoscope. When you're seeing those kaleidoscope visuals and you're like, dude, the amount of people that I'll see in like
there's more to DMT than profound revelations.
I remember when Joe did this one stream, comment sections, when it's like LSD trip visualization. It'll be some 15-year-old like 5-MeO DMT. Yeah, I captured a Sonoran toad IRL stream. Me and fucking, oh, this would be awesome. I can't wait to take acid. I'm like, yo, it's different from seeing it on a screen versus it being in your fucking brain. Phase Lacey. Me and Lacey went to the middle of the main, dude. That and you're hallucinating, you're hearing shit. Everything's heightened. You're basically taking desert, captured a Sonoran toad, fucking scared it and smoked it. Poison, right? Because you're fucking tripping balls, dude. If it's like, it depends if it's like still sitting there going, Simon, because that's like bug poison. But I think this visual is supposed to be the guy that invented acid. That's a crazy story.
Mystical encounters and medical promise.
No, guy that invented acid took it on the way home from the lab. He rode his bike back and he was tripping balls. Imagine inventing acid. Lacey, sorry.
This is the enduring mystery of DMT.
And then being the first guy to take it. Out of nowhere, what is this intro? And mixing a bunch of chemicals. And then not knowing the
November
fucking
1852. This is British botanist Richard Spruce. For the past 3 years, he's been making his way through the Amazon rainforest to study plants.
These types of visuals are common on hallucinogens, and people always see them and they're like, oh, that's what tripping's like. I'm like, dude, when you're tripping and you're actually seeing like not holograms, what are they called? Ayahuasca. I'm calling it.
Particularly interested in mosses.
It's in your eyes. The fractals. When you're seeing the fractals, like a kaleidoscope, when you're seeing those kaleidoscope visuals.
Along the way, he keeps encountering indigenous communities living deep in the jungle. He learns their languages and studies their customs.
And you're like, dude, the amount of people that I'll see in like
Right now, Spruce is staying with an indigenous group.
Comment sections when it's like LSD trip visualization. It'll be some 15-year-old like, oh, this would be awesome. I can't wait to take acid. I'm like, yo, it's different from seeing it on a screen versus it being in your fucking brain.
In what is now northwestern Brazil. Today is a special occasion. The tribe is about to hold a spiritual ceremony, and at the center of it all is this ritual brew.
Because that's like bug poison. But I think this visual is supposed to be the guy that invented acid. That's a crazy story. Guy that invented acid took it on the way home from the lab. He rode his bike back.
Its key ingredient is a specific type of liana. Indigenous people have been drinking or chewing it for thousands of years.
Back and he was tripping balls. Imagine inventing acid. Okay, I'm dead wrong. Fuck! I took psychopharmacology in college. Don't they take ayahuasca in like South America? And then being the first guy to take it. How was acid invented? Mixing a bunch of chemicals. And then not knowing the
November
fucking doses.
1852. This is British botanist Richard Spruce. For the past 3 years, he's been making his way through the Amazon rainforest to study plants. He's
Ayahuasca. I'm calling it.
Particularly interested in mosses.
Dude, you're in the fucking middle of a jungle. Fires around you. You're some fucking like British explorer, dude. You're with all these tribal guys that have been taking this shit for fucking centuries. And they're like, drink this.
Along the way, he keeps encountering indigenous communities living deep in the jungle. He learns their languages and studies their customs. He watches several young members of the community drink the mixture before him. Right now, Spruce is staying with an indigenous group. He notes that, for about 10 minutes, they appear to be possessed with reckless fury. Then they calm down and simply continue dancing. In what is now northwestern Brazil. Today is a special occasion. The tribe is about to hold a spiritual ceremony, and at the center of it all is this ritual brew. Its key ingredient is a specific type of liana. Indigenous people have been drinking or chewing it for thousands of years. Some groups call it napa, others bako, or pinde. Then it's his turn. But the tribe didn't just prepare
Okay, I'm dead wrong. Fuck! I took psychopharmacology in college. Don't they take ayahuasca in like South America?
For him.
I had scarcely dispatched 1 cup of...
This group calls it kapi. And tonight, Spruce is going to try it himself.
...the nauseous beverage, when the ruler of the feast came up with a woman bearing a large calabash of mandioca beer.
Dude, you're in the fucking middle of a jungle. Fires around you. You're some fucking like British explorer, dude. You're with all these tribal guys that have been taking this shit for fucking centuries. And they're like, drink this.
He watches several young members of the community drink the mixture before him. He notes that, for about 10 minutes, they appear to be possessed with reckless fury.
Called kashery.
After that, protocol demands that he top things off with a cigar and a cup of palm wine. Then it's his turn. But the tribe didn't just prepare kapi.
This motherfucker just a pot of liquid and go, you gotta drink this, smoke a cigar, and then have some wine. What? I'd be like, am I
for him?
I had scarcely dispatched 1 cup of...
am I at an ASU frat party right now?
...the nauseous beverage, when the ruler of the feast came up with a woman bearing a large calabash of mandioca beer.
Oh, what's fucking happening, bro? we're doing the fucking dynamic trio here.
Called kashery.
After that, protocol demands that he top things off with a cigar and a cup of palm wine.
Bro, what? They just hand this motherfucker just a pot of...
Spruce has to fight off the urge to vomit and stretches out in a hammock. The kapi is slowly kicking in.
Liquid and go, you gotta drink this, smoke a cigar, and then have some wine. What? I'd be like, am I... God, dude, the urge to vomit... I haven't taken any other hallucinogens outside of mushrooms, but they're am I at an ASU frat party right now? Feeling gross.
Later notes in his journal that white men taking kapi all seem to report the same experience.
Oh, what's fucking happening, bro? we're doing the fucking dynamic trio here.
Spruce has to fight off the urge to vomit and stretches out in a hammock. The kapi is slowly kicking in.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and...
God, dude, the urge to vomit. I haven't taken any other hallucinogens outside of mushrooms, but they're really so accurate. Holy fuck. I don't know about this drug, but that is so accurate for what hallucinations look like. Urge to fucking vomit after eating mushrooms is so bad. When you start hallucinating, you start feeling gross.
Later notes in his journal that white men taking Cappy all seem to report the same experience.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and
oh my God. Yeah, staring at the sky and just seeing that.
boldness.
Like the trees are moving.
Sight is disturbed, and vision... They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and boldness.
What? Yo, that is actually so accurate. Holy fuck. I don't know about this drug, but that is so accurate for what hallucinations look like.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and
oh my God. Yeah, staring at the sky and just seeing that.
boldness.
Like the trees are moving.
Sight is disturbed, and visions pass rapidly before the eyes, wherein everything gorgeous and magnificent they have heard or read of seems combined, and presently the scene changes to things uncouth and horrible.
Hey, this is Jonas, one of the founders of Fern. It's not just psychedelics that can shape our minds. Our thoughts...
Is this an ad?
10% off your first month.
Spruce calls the plant Banisteria caapi. Banisteria was the term used at the time for a class of tropical climbing plants. Caapi is an indigenous word for grass. He samples a couple of those vines, dries them, and has them shipped to England. Over the following years, Spruce keeps traveling.
Yo, side note, I gotta say, herbal psychopharmacology was the second best class I have ever taken in all of the 4 years of college I had. It is such an interesting class. Like, normally I hate, like, the nitty-gritty science of, like, what makes up something. But learning about, like, how certain drugs affect the mind and the body is fascinating. The mystery of the world's strongest drug.
This is test subject 34. She has just been given a substance often described as the most powerful psychedelic drug in the world.
Frog poison. 5-MeO-DMT.
It makes her feel like she's being launched into outer space. Other users report near-death experiences, profound insights, and mythical encounters with spiritual beings. The drug appears to shake the very foundations of human perception.
It is one of the most weird and unexpected things a person can go through.
Well, I also feel like being in an experiment where you're given DMT is... I'm assuming it's DMT, because that's the strongest drug. No, it's not salvia, because salvia you have to smoke. DMT... Well, DMT, you also smoke. Well, how are they giving this to her in a hospital? Maybe a pill? I don't know. It has to be DMT, though, because DMT is the strongest. DMT is the thing that's released in your brain when you die, in smaller amounts, though. But dimethyltryptamine, taking this in a hospital setting would be fucking utterly terrifying. Obviously, I've never taken DMT, so I don't know what it's like. But I've seen, videos of people take DMT, bro. They start tweaking. Imagine being on a fucking hospital bed. Beep, beep. Those blinding lights, I would convince myself that I'm dying.
We're talking about dimethyltryptamine, or DMT. In its pure synthetic form, it looks like an inconspicuous crystalline powder.
It's a very simple molecule.
Bro, who was I talking to? Was this on stream? Or was I having this conversation elsewhere? I knew a guy that was given a vape and he hit it and it was a DMT vape and the guy told him that it was a weed vape. And then he started bugging out. I don't think I was told this story on stream. I think I heard this off stream. I don't think I've ever told it though. I forget who told me that. That would be terrible. Imagine that. I forget who told me that. Somebody told me that story and I remember I was talking to, it was a guy. I think it was at a bar. And I was like, bro, were you upset? He was like, no, I had a good time. I'm like, dude, I would have been fucking tweaking, man. Imagine your friend, you're drunk. Your friend hands you a fucking vape and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's THC. You fucking hit that shit, it's DMT. You just start tripping balls in public. Huh.
And yet, DMT has been puzzling scientists around the globe for more than a century. The substance has been used in indigenous cultures for thousands of years. It occurs naturally in plants, animals, and even in the human body. But when
I always wonder how they figure that shit out from frogs. Because 5-MeO-DMT is the strongest type of DMT. And it's from the secretion frogs a Sonoran toad has. And the Sonoran toad releases this like whitish pus poison. And so they'll put the frog on like a platform and poke it to scare it, and then they'll scrape the poison off of its back, dry it, and then smoke it.
Interacts with our brain, things seem to go completely off the rails. Many users say DMT fundamentally changed their lives. And yet, other experiences suggest there's more to DMT than profound revelations.
I remember when Joe did this one stream, 5-MeO-DMT? Yeah, I captured a Sonoran toad IRL stream. Me and fucking FaZe Lacey. Me and Lacey went to the middle of the desert, captured a Sonoran toad, fucking scared it and smoked it. Sitting there going,
Mystical encounters and medical promise.
Nope.
For some people, the substance can also open doors to the darkest corners of their consciousness.
Not FaZe anymore, just Lacey, sorry.
This is the enduring mystery of DMT.
Because now you're not only just learning about like hallucinogens, you're learning about like what is that? Or out of nowhere, what is this intro? These types of visuals are common on hallucinogens, and people always see them and they're like, oh, that's what tripping's like. I'm like, dude, when you're tripping and you're actually seeing like not holograms, what are they called? It's in your eyes. The fractals. When you're seeing the fractals, like a kaleidoscope, when you're seeing those kaleidoscope visuals and you're like, dude, the amount of people that I'll see in like comment sections when it's like LSD trip visualization, it'll be some 15-year-old like, oh, this would be awesome. I can't wait to take acid. I'm like, yo, it's different from seeing it on a screen versus it being in your fucking brain, dude. That and you're hallucinating, you're hearing shit. Everything's heightened. You're basically taking poison, right? Because you're fucking tripping balls, dude. If it's like, it depends if it's like psilocybin, because that's like bug poison. But I think this visual is supposed to be the guy that invented acid. That's a crazy story. Guy that invented acid took it on the way home from the lab. He rode his bike back and he was tripping balls. Imagine inventing acid and then being the first guy to take it. How was acid invented? Mixing a bunch of chemicals. And then not knowing the
November
fucking
1852. This is British botanist Richard Spruce. For the past 3 years, he's been making his way through the Amazon rainforest to study plants. He's
Ayahuasca. I'm calling it.
Particularly interested in mosses.
Fuck!
Along the way, he keeps encountering indigenous communities living deep in the jungle. He learns their languages and studies their customs. Right now, Spruce is staying with an indigenous group in what is now northwestern Brazil. Today is a special occasion. The tribe is about to hold a spiritual ceremony, and at the center of it all is this ritual brew. Its key ingredient is a specific type of liana. Indigenous people have been drinking or chewing it for thousands of years. Some groups call it napa, others baco, or pinde.
Okay, I'm dead wrong. Fuck! I took herbopsychopharmacology in college. Don't they take ayahuasca in like South America?
This group calls it kapi. And tonight, Spruce is going to try it himself.
Dude, you're in the fucking middle of a jungle. Fires around you. You're some fucking like British explorer, dude. You're with all these tribal guys that have been taking this shit for fucking centuries. And they're like, drink this. Psychopharmacology was basically a class learning about drugs. And I learned about like weed, mushrooms, coke, fentanyl, you know, just any method, any amphetamine. You learn what type of
He watches several young members of the community drink the mixture before him.
Drug classification each things are, how they are in the government, why they are the way they are, how they affect you.
He notes that, for about 10 minutes, they appear to be possessed with reckless fury. Then they calm down and simply continue dancing. Then it's his turn. But the tribe didn't just prepare kapi for him.
I had scarcely dispatched 1 cup of the nauseous beverage when the ruler of the feast came up with a woman bearing a large calabash of mandioca beer called kashiri.
After that, protocol demands that he top things off with a cigar and a cup of palm wine.
What? They just hand this motherfucker just a pot of liquid and go, you gotta drink this, smoke a cigar, and then have some wine. What? I'd be like, am I at an ASU frat party right now?
South America, and repeatedly comes across copy. One of these encounters takes place in 1857 among an indigenous.
Oh, what's fucking happening, bro? we're doing the fucking dynamic trio here.
Group in Peru. They also use the vine to prepare a powerful brew. They mix it with other plants and call it ayahuasca. Spruce has to fight off the urge to vomit and stretches out in a hammock. The copy is slowly kicking in.
God, dude, the urge to vomit. I haven't taken any other hallucinogens outside of mushrooms, but the urge to fucking vomit after eating mushrooms is so bad. When you start hallucinating, you start feeling gross.
Later notes in his journal that white men taking copy all seem to report the same experience.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and...
I called that shit. I would do that. I would only do ayahuasca, though, if I could do it in... What? Yo, that is actually so accurate. Holy fuck. I don't know about this drug, but that is so accurate for what hallucinations look like. In the jungle with, like, a shaman. That like, granted...
Experience.
They feel alternations of cold and heat, fear and...
Oh my god. Yeah, staring at me, the permission, and also, like, serenaded me. Because I've seen a lot of documentaries where the sky and just seeing that.
Boldness.
Like, the trees are moving.
Sight is disturbed, and visions pass rapidly before the eyes, wherein everything gorgeous and magnificently...
Where you do, like, an ayahuasca retreat, and you take it, and then it's like a whole traditional experience.
...have heard or read of seems combined. And presently the scene changes to things uncouth and horrible.
Hey, this is Jonas, one of the founders.
I think I would freak out, but I think it would be a good experience.
Spruce apparently doesn't drink it himself this time. Instead, he asks the locals to describe their experiences to him. To Spruce, the brew remains an unsolved mystery.
He's of Fern. It's not just psychedelics that can shape our minds, our thoughts.
Is this an ad?
He simply can't figure out which particular substances cause these extreme effects. He's already familiar
10% off your first month.
With opium and cannabis, but copy seems to be much more potent. Spruce calls the plant Banisteria copy. Banisteria was the term used at the time for a class of tropical climbing. What he doesn't realize is that he's been looking in the wrong place. Plants. Copy is an indigenous word for grass. He samples a couple of those vines, dries them. The plant he sent back to Europe isn't the key ingredient. Technically, it's not the liana or Banisteria copy that produces the intoxicant and has them shipped to England. Over the following years, Spruce keeps traveling.
Yo, side note, I gotta say, herbal psychopharmacology was the second best class I have ever taken.
Getting effect. The real trigger is a special compound found in the leaves mixed into the brew.
In all of the 4 years of college I had. It is such an interesting class. Like, normally I hate, like, the nitty-gritty science of, like, what makes up something, but learning about, like, how certain drugs affect the mind and the body is fascinating. Because now you're not only just learning about, like, hallucinogens, you're learning about, like, what is that? Herbopsychopharmacology was basically a class learning about drugs. And I learned about, like, weed, mushrooms, coke, fentanyl, you know, just any amphetamine. You learn what type of drug classification each things are, how they are in the government, why they are the way they are, how they affect you.
DMT, more precisely, N-DMT, South America, and repeatedly comes across copy. One of these encounters takes place in 1857 among an indigenous group in Peru. They also use the vine to prepare a powerful brew. They mix it with other plants and call it ayahuasca. Its molecular structure is surprisingly simple compared to other psychedelics. Its complete name is N.
I called that shit. I would do that. I would only do ayahuasca, though, if I could do it in the jungle with, like, a shaman. That like, granted...
was the first to synthesize the substance in the early 1930s. Back then, he had no idea of its extraordinary psychoactive effect.
Documentaries where they...
At its core, DMT is characterized by a nitrogen atom bonded to two methyl groups, hence the name dimethyl. A methyl group consists
where you do like an ayahuasca retreat and you take it and then it's like a whole traditional experience
of one carbon atom bonded to three hydrogen atoms. It's one of the simplest building blocks in organic chemistry. The nitrogen
I think I would freak out, but I think it would be a good experience.
atom is connected via a short carbon chain to the most important part of the molecular structure, the so-called indole ring. The same structural feature can also be found in other known psychedelics like LSD or psilocybin to describe their experiences to him. And within the molecular structure of serotonin, serotonin is a neurotransmitter. To Spruce, the brew remains an unsolved mystery. It plays a key role in some of our most essential bodily functions. He simply can't figure out which particular substances cause these extreme effects. He's already familiar with functions, from mood, sleep, digestion, and nausea, to wound healing and sexual desire. Because of their structural similarity with opium and cannabis, but copy seems to be much more potent. What he doesn't realize is that he's been looking in the wrong place. Similarity, psychedelics like DMT combine to the same receptors usually used by serotonin. The plant he sent back to Europe isn't the key ingredient. Technically, it's not the liana or Banisteria copy that produces the intoxicant.
They're like key locks, and drugs are like specific keys that act on specific key locks.
Hitting effect. The real trigger is a special compound found in the leaves mixed into the brew.
And so these classic psychedelic drugs, with which DMT is one of them, act on specific...
DMT, more precisely, N-DMT. Its molecular structure is surprisingly simple compared to other psychedelics. Its complete name is N-dimethyltryptamine, but we'll simply refer to it as DMT throughout this video. German-Canadian chemist Richard Manske was the first to synthesize the substance in the early 1930s. Back then, he had no idea of its extraordinary psychoactive effects. At its core, DMT is characterized by a nitrogen atom bonded to two methyl groups, hence the name dimethyl. A methyl group consists of one carbon atom bonded to three hydrogen atoms. It's one of the simplest building blocks in organic chemistry. The nitrogen atom is connected via a short carbon chain to the most important part of the molecular structure, the
specific key locks in the brain, and
so-called indole ring. The same structural feature can also be found in other known psychedelics like LSD or psilocybin.
Such a great way of explaining it. Oh my god. That certain drugs are keys to certain locks in your brain.
Specifically.
And within the molecular structure of serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter, a molecule that carries chemical messages or signals between nerve cells. It plays a key role in some of our most essential bodily functions, from mood, sleep, digestion, and nausea, to wound healing and sexual desire. Because of their structural similarity, psychedelics like DMT combine to the same receptors usually used by serotonin.
They're like key locks, and drugs are like specific keys that act on specific key locks. And so these classic psychedelic drugs, with which DMT is one of them, act on specific key locks in the brain. And
that is such a great way of explaining it. Oh my god. That certain drugs are keys to certain locks in your brain.
Specifically.
And then they affect you in different ways.
These serotonin receptors in the brain.
This is Chris Timmerman. He's a
What's the worst drug? Depends what you're talking about. Fentanyl. Right now. Not to say that there couldn't be a worse drug in the future. Fentanyl kills the most people for the amount of users that have used it. Like, more people have died from other drugs historically, but fentanyl is definitely the worst. In terms of it also depends on what type of drug you're talking about. Worse in terms of addiction, worse in terms of death rate, largely it's still fentanyl.
Scientist and one of the world's leading researchers on DMT. He spends much of his time traveling for research, so we're lucky enough to catch him on a video call. It's likely that DMT was also the main active compound in the brew that Spruce encountered back in the jungle. Today, that mixture is widely known as ayahuasca. To produce it, you mainly need two ingredients. The first one consists of plants that contain DMT. They grow across large parts of the Amazon basin, though not exclusively there. The second ingredient is the Kapi liana, documented by Spruce. It doesn't...
Wait, so these two substances are not inherently hallucinogenic themselves, but when you mix them, they release the compound?
Contain DMT itself, but it is crucial for making the DMT in the brew psychoactive.
I wonder how they figured that out historically. Like, do you think that shit's by accident? Hallucinogenic mushrooms for sure. Like, imagine being the first Homo sapien to be like, ooh, a mushroom. Eat that shit, and you start tripping balls, bro. I mean, that's like a theory on how a lot of religions are made, is because most people historically have taken hallucinogens without knowing it and then seen shit that they think is supernatural. But yeah, trial and error, maybe if they're trying to figure out something, I think like that's how they determine what's bad and good in terms of, you know, what's going to kill you plant-wise. Like, people eating mushrooms, some mushrooms kill you, they avoid those. Some mushrooms are just good to eat, and then some are for, like, rituals and then just, you know, getting high. But in terms of, like, ayahuasca, I feel like it had to be, like, accidentally these things were mixed together. Somebody was hungry and ate it, and then they tripped balls and went, that makes me, you know, bug out.
Mixing and boiling the two together produces the psychedelic plant drink known as ayahuasca. Psychedelics are generally considered physiologically safe and non-addictive. That's one of the key differences between them and drugs like cocaine or amphetamines. Those primarily act as stimulants. They artificially increase dopamine.
Yeah, I don't promote the use of psilocybin or mushrooms, but I do try. One of the things that we talked about in herbal psychopharmacology was that mushrooms have the highest safety rating out of any drug in terms of addiction potential and death rates out of certain drugs. That and then marijuana, I think, was like a close second.
And neuroepinephrine levels in the brain and strongly activate our reward system. Psychedelics, on the other hand, alter perception itself. Users may see or hear things that aren't there.
Have you ever used kratom? Yes. How would you describe the high from kratom? I got high on kratom probably like 20 times. It really depended the amount I took. Kratom in low doses was like a mixture of a nicotine and weed high. I always say it felt like I hit a cart twice and then shoved 2 Zins in my mouth. But in higher doses, it was more an in-between between like very low-level mushrooms and like weed.
Hallucinate and lose their sense of time and space. Some report life-changing experiences. And many...
A guy ate his friend's heart because of mushrooms. I think that guy should not... I think the mushrooms were a part of... When you hear stories about people taking mushrooms and eating somebody's heart, I don't know what story that is or if that's true, but if that actually happened, number one, that's terrible. Number two, I don't think mushrooms alone caused him to do that. I think that guy was not in a clear, good mental space. Similarly to the story about the woman that smoked weed for the first time with her boyfriend and then stabbed him 80 times and she blamed the marijuana. It wasn't the weed, right? You were not sane. Right? Like, you needed help in other mental regards. That weed did not force you to kill your boyfriend, right? Like, that was you, right? I think it depends on the drug, right? Psilocybin can make you trip out, perceive things that you get paranoid, and then you could have certain reactions like that. Eating your friend's heart, however, I think that's a little extreme. Separately, though, like, there are drugs like bath salts where, like, people will actually just go insane and kill someone. Like, in that sense... I think it depends on the drug, right? When you hear a story about somebody hitting a bong for the first time and killing their boyfriend, weed didn't make you do that. But you hear somebody getting drugged with bath salts and then stripping naked and fucking smashing cars in the streets and attacking people. I think that was the bath salts, right? Like, I think it depends on the situation.
Ways psychedelic substances seem to fundamentally alter how we think and feel, which is precisely why DMT continues to fascinate scientists to this day.
In terms of the psychological impact of the experiences, in terms of the subjective effects it generates, it is one of the most weird and unexpected things a person can go through.
Oh my God, is this gonna be the story about how acid was made? I love hearing this. Because what a crazy thing, dude. Just being a scientist, you make acid, you fucking take it, and then drive home.
April 19th,
drive home, fucking ride your bike back.
1943, a bike path near Basel in Switzerland. This is Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann. He works as a researcher.
And then the CIA got their hands on LSD and said, let's see if we can make this a truth serum. Why don't we start drugging people in the US with this shit and asking them deep questions?
Researcher for a Swiss pharmaceutical company. Riding next to him is his lab assistant. He explicitly asked her to come along. He's desperately trying to get home. Earlier that day, he started conducting an experiment on himself. He dissolved 250 grams of lysergic acid, diethylamide, in water and ingested it. He had synthesized the compound in the lab after isolating it from the ergot fungus. And right now, he's feeling a bit under the weather.
Everything in my field of vision.
Why didn't you just stay in the lab? Bro, oh my God, I thought it was a peaceful experience. The way that I've always heard this story was he made acid, took it, and then just had a happy bike ride home. This is making it feel like a doom trip. This guy's asking his assistant, you need to get me, I need to go home. I need to get back.
Everything in my field of vision wavered and was distorted as if seen in a curved mirror.
Oh, God.
I also had the sensation of being unable to move from the spot. Nevertheless, my assistant later told me that we had traveled very rapidly.
Stretching out on the couch back home doesn't help much either.
My surroundings had now transformed themselves in more terrifying ways. Everything in the room spun around, and familiar objects and pieces of furniture assumed grotesque, threatening forms. They were in constant motion, animated as if driven by an inner restlessness. The lady next door, whom I scarcely recognized, brought me milk.
Oh my God, you're trying to have a conversation? Holy fuck. Dude, you took way too much. You're a scientist being like, oh, this was a bad idea. This was a bad idea. I should not. 250 UGs. I don't even know what an average dose of acid is. What's an average dose of acid or LSD? The usual range for psychedelics effects starts at 20 and ends at around 200 UGs. So he took way more than that. A typical dose is 50 to 200. Oh my God. He took 250.
It's no longer Mrs. R, but
one tab's around 100.
Appeared instead as a malevolent, insidious witch wearing a colored mask.
Albert Hofmann has just embarked on the world's first LSD trip. He has no idea what the substance does. He believed 250 micrograms to be prudently safe dose, but it turns out to be extraordinarily potent. And now he fears he may lose his mind.
Why did he not start lower, you know? Like, if you're the first, if you haven't tested this on anything, and you're, like, because this guy's obviously really fucking smart. Yeah, why did he start at 250? Like, I know 250 micrograms is so little, but I'm saying, like, why not start at, like, 10 and just be like, let me see if I feel anything. He probably thought, okay, to be fair, there's no baseline. So 250 micrograms, he probably was like, I might not even feel anything.
A few hours later, the effects slowly begin to soften. The trip becomes more pleasant. As he steps out into his garden after a spring rain, it feels as though he's seeing everything for the very first time.
Everything glistened and sparkled in a fresh light.
From that day on, Hofmann is convinced that this tiny molecule holds enormous power, that it could someday be of great value to medicine and psychiatry. His discovery jumpstarts the entire field of psychedelic research. Hofmann inspires many other scientists to follow his lead. And in the 1950s, he becomes...
Well, and wasn't acid briefly legal in the United States? Yeah, acid was legal in the United States for the first half of the 1960s. Like, your grandparents could have just gotten acid and done it, and that was perfectly legal. Largely unregulated until 1966.
Becomes the first to isolate the psychoactive compound.
Oh my God, what is that, like, fucking famous ass, not Burning Man, what was that famous ass concert that everybody went to? Woodstock. When was Woodstock? 1969. Because I know there's, like, pictures of people acid. Yeah, it's somebody's gramps selling acid tablets for $1 at Woodstock.
Psilocybin from psychedelic mushrooms. That's another major milestone. But psychedelic research also turns its attention to DMT. Scientists discover more and more plants that contain the substance. To date, it has been found in at least 50 different plant species. DMT has also been found in mammals like rats and rabbits. In the 1960s, a German researcher team even found traces of the substance in human blood. Shortly after, US Nobel Prize-winning scientist Julius Axelrod provided evidence that DMT occurs naturally in the human brain. It's even considered endogenous, meaning our own bodies produce it naturally.
There's a saying that says DMT is everywhere. And it is also found in the human body and in a lot of mammals' bodies as well.
Throughout the 1960s, scientists keep isolating DMT in humans, animals, and plants. And meanwhile, psychedelics are starting to seep into popular culture.
How often have you taken LSD?
Was the Beatles?
4 times.
The swinging 60s are the peak years of the hippie movement and psychedelics like LSD. The cultural revolution is fueled by activists, intellectuals, and artists alike. One of them is Terence McKenna. He is just studying at Berkeley. He's 18 years old and has already done his fair share of experiments with psychedelics like LSD.
Terence McKenna. Why do I know the name Terence McKenna? I'm going to take a wild guess. Who was the father of penis envy? I think that was Terence McKenna. He's the Beatles. Who invented penis envy mushrooms? Terence McKenna. Wow, I know my history on herbal psychopharmacology. That's kind of sad.
But what he's
I'm going to say it's cool.
About to experience tonight will eclipse everything he has ever felt. A friend has come to visit. and brought this white crystalline powder. He claims it was stolen from a US Army chemical research facility. It's DMT. And for the first time in his life,
It means you learned. Yo, actually, like, that's proof, bro. If you have an interest in the class, you'll remember the info.
young Terrence McKenna is about to smoke it.
I had this hallucination of tumbling forward into these fractal geometric shapes made of light, and then I found myself in the equivalent of the Pope's private chapel. And there were insect elf machines proffering strange little tablets with strange writing on them. These self-transforming machine elf creatures were speaking in a colored language which condensed into rotating machines that were like Fabergé eggs. All this stuff was so weird and so...
Like, I know it's hallucinations, but I always wonder what makes those appear. Like, why is he seeing that? That's why there's people that actually believe there's, like, another dimension that you could see on DMT. Because it's like, where is your brain coming up with this random shit?
alien and so un-Englishable that it was a complete shock. I mean, the literal turning inside out of my intellectual universe. It's like being struck by noetic lightning.
The experience completely changes McKenna's view of life and reality. He becomes convinced that there is another secret world, one we normally can't see or access. He drops out of university to chase this mystery. He travels to Nepal to meet Tibetan shamans. He works as a professional butterfly collector in Indonesia, and he ventures deep into the Colombian jungle.
Sick-ass job. What? Professional butterfly collector? Fire. That is a sick career. You just walk around and you collect butterflies.
Ventures deep into the Colombian jungle with his brother and 3 friends. McKenna's description of the so-called machine elves becomes a cultural reference. Countless DMT users later report encountering mystical entities that closely match what he described.
There's a lot of people that say they, I've seen like a few stories where it's like 2 friends both take DMT and they both meet the same person in their trip without ever talking to each other about it.
He dies in 2000, leaving behind an extensive audio archive with over 500 hours of theories on psychedelics and spirituality.
A drug like synthetic ayahuasca, pharmahuasca, do people realize this is the same thing as has been taken for thousands of years down there? Do they realize its role in shamanic healing?
By the late 1960s, authorities began cracking down on the widespread drug use in the US.
Well, I mean, if I was to say where I got it from, it's illegal and everything, it's silly to say that.
In 1966, California